Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn.
Too much.
Well, funny enough, they were the team that bought it out last week, and it actually was a big benefactor of why they beat Tempest Gaming. Interesting enough, I'll quickly run through the draft. Belfast Storm first picked Orianna. Vayne was completely open, picked it in the first rotation. The bans for Belfast was Rakan, Nautilus, Rumble, Talia, Aurelia. For DMG, it was Azir, Thresh, Zaya, Braum, Renata. So, bit of a mix-up in terms of bans and stuff. Heavily teamfight focused for Belfast, with having an own front line, with that Fiddlesticks paired up. Can be very deadly, creates a lot of freedom for this Vayne.
Yes, indeed. And of course, speaking of Belfast Storm, Vayne got on. The famous Vayne once again. Excited to see that performance. And, coming off a victory against Tempest Gaming, of course, some people will say, oh, it wasn't the most serious game that came out of Tempest Gaming, but still, that must feel really good for the side of Belfast Storm, taking out the #1 team in UKEL.
Yeah, momentum is always going to matter. Like, every game matters, especially when you're not in first place, like Tempest. So this is going to matter a huge amount for Belfast, especially coming into this game against DMG, who's not had a great run of things as of late.
No, you are completely right there. I mean, of course, very early on in the season, I loved watching them perform, and I still love watching this team play. But you're definitely right. They have been struggling, and I hope they can kind of have a bit of a nice answer. I mean, they do have some comfortable picks here, of course. We do have Jinyu on the Ahri. We have Yang on Kai'Sa. I wonder if they have a new support, Obliviate. I'm not sure I'm completely familiar with this name. Is he Steven, or is this like a sub coming out from the side of DMG?
I'm not too sure, but we'll be able to find that out from production or one of the guys behind the scenes. But it is a sub, so it's not their original support. Got confirmation on that. I'm not sure about their Ahri mid, because the last time they played it, it was against Talia, so it didn't have a great matchup, that is granted. But he still ended up most of the time split pushing in a side lane. It's not really what you want an Ahri for. You want her to be an infiltrator. You want to get behind people and try and make these picks. But none of that was really happening the last time we see it.
Yes, indeed. We do see a bit of action over here on the bot lane, or at least some setup for actions. Fiddlestick trying to do a lane gank here. I'm not sure if DMG knows that Sojin is over here, like trying to look for a gank. Fiddlestick doesn't have ult, of course. We're very early on into the game, so we're not going to see crazy shenanigans yet. Shouty Rowdy a bit nearby there.
Also, thing we didn't mention as well, Pighead last time on this Camille actually had a really good game. So I'm happy to see him on this again. But it is into Renge on Ornn. Renge will be pretty safe in this matchup. He'll be playing pretty safe. Early levels, he can bully this matchup, as you can see with the CS deficit. On levels 1 to 3, he's pretty much an assassin, so always got to be a bit careful in the early game against Ornn.
Wait, what? Ornn's an assassin? I thought this guy was a tank. I mean, he at least looks like a tank.
He's a tank, bruiser, assassin. Ornn is the full package for top lane, basically. He provides everything you need.
Yeah, and so far he's doing really good in lane. Already got like a nice chunky lead. Obliviate trying to look for a gank here, but there is a ward there, so Limsey for sure is aware of Obliviate's presence, and will just be safe there from the gank attempt.
It's interesting to see Limsey off Azir this time around. Azir was pretty monumental in their last game, was delivering people up on a plate the last time he was playing Azir, but going more towards actual meta with the Orianna pick. She is currently one of the strongest mid laners on current patch, so
yes, indeed, you are absolutely correct in terms of that. I mean, so far, not too much action is pretty stable. I mean, if we kind of look at like the lane state and kind of look at like the CS leads, I'm kind of surprised that Belfast is having such a nice time with the Vayne. Of course, Vayne and Kaiser are both scaling, but just already 10 CS up for the side of Vayne God.
It's to be expected when he's on his comfort into a matchup, which generally isn't that bad for Vayne. As long as you keep out the way of the blitz early, you should be more than fine, but they
Here
can
we
have
go.
some more trouble.
Okay, flash stop from Obliviate, has to use her own flash, so Vayne and Zerg both using the flash to get out of there. In the end, no kills.
Vayne God and Zerg got that much synergy, they're flashing at the exact same time. Neither of them wanted to be on the end of that one, and I don't really blame them.
No, we do not blame that at all. I mean, Shawty Rowdy is sticking around, but now we do have Sojin here as well. Okay, now they're going in pretty hard. Vayne God using the Ghost as well. Obliviate completely out of mana, and first blood goes to Vayne God, baby.
Yeah, good retaliation by Belfast there, seeing that the Blitzcrank wasted all his mana on his hooks, especially that last one, and with Sojin waiting in the wings, they knew they could just go forward without hesitation, and this should net them a dragon on the back end of things as well. A nice little gain for them.
Yes, indeed, a really nice gain. However, Shawty Rowdy has now spotted Sojin taking Dragon. Okay, I think he realizes, yeah, I'm not sure we have the numbers. They're just backing off. However, Obliviate is close behind them. Yang is maybe posturing. Okay, no. In the end, they decide not to really fight against this first Dragon for Belfast, an Infernal Drake.
Yeah, the first and second dragon isn't going to harm you too much, giving them away, so smart decision by DMG not to contest it. They don't have the strongest early game either, so in terms of champions to contest it, they don't really have that in their facilities.
No, they don't. Seems like at least from the side of Pighead. I mean, it's weird to say because, like, usually you think, like, okay, Camille should be doing good against Ornn. I mean, when you think, like, bruisers versus tanks and stuff like that. But I was just about to say there, like, Pighead seems to have recovered pretty well. They're about even in CS now on top side. Which is, like, the weirdest thing to say because, like, it's Ornn, you know?
Yeah, early stages of the game, it's always going to be a little bit rough. Ornn will always get a slight advantage in the early game. Obviously, Ornn will be back in time to collect this wave, so he still will be up on the Camille. But because of this, they can use some of that pressure to move into the top jungle just to see who they can find. Trying to find Sojin, and Sojin is plaffing towards his blue buff.
Yeah, also the Herald is up, and 4 members on DMG are bunched up trying to take this Herald. And, well, that's 4 of them kind of established there. We do have Rengis, like, kind of going in. He kind of sees what's going on. Ooh, okay, the ultimate is used. Well, DMG gets the Herald, but a nice knockout coming out for Rengis. But is that only going to be damage, or is there going to be much more? Nope. Good dashes coming out from DMG. They're able to get out scot-free with the Herald.
Narrowly avoiding the shockwave from Limsey as well. And Limsey flashed in for that, trying to get the connection, but they couldn't find anything else. Fiddlesticks was not level 6, so unfortunately, just really unlucky timing for Belfast. They don't really get anything off this.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, like, kind of seeing Fiddlestick almost being level 6 there, it was like, oh my god, wait, if he gets level 6, this ult combo between the Ornn and the Fiddlestick would be absolutely insane, but unfortunately, not level 6, could not have the follow-up.
And Ornn just collecting a little bit of gold for his troubles. They have the Herald on Vi for DMG. They'll probably look towards putting that towards the bot lane. That's where they're going to want to make the most plays. And you're not going to catch Vayne God with hooks like that, my friend. You've got to try a little bit harder. This is a man who's used to playing on the edge, used to play short-range AD carries. And what else? Set it up. You have a Vi. Just play it around a Vi. Play the hooks off that. Your life will be a lot easier. Because otherwise, you're going to run through your mana pool.
Oh yeah, and it really feels like the Blitzcrank pick. I definitely see what you mean. Like, it definitely should struggle against Vayne a lot. I mean, like, he's almost never going to get good hooks, and maybe like the target should be more towards Lulu in that case. I feel like.
Oh, 100%. Lulu should always be your target in this lane. I feel she is the easier choice to hook. Vayne obviously having her dash, pretty short cooldown as well. Just that extra bit of movement for Vayne gets her the potential to dodge these hooks a lot easier. And now they're just setting up for that Fiddle ultimate with Blitzcrank roaming right now. They don't have any wards around to spot the fiddle. As soon as Vanguard has this wave pushed in, they can set up real nice for this.
Okay, there is a duel here on top. Rengus has been chunked down to a nice bit of HP. It seems like there is a gank attempt from the side of Shadi Rowdy and Jin Yu. Rengus desperately trying to clear out the wave as fast as he can. Boom, that's another bit of hit taken out. Pighead is chunking him down very hard. There is the Herald used. Rengus using Call of the Forge God, trying to get as much as he can in this situation. Nice unstoppable proccing there to get out of that gank. And just like that, he's able to get out. In the meantime, here on bot lane, there is the gank coming out from Sojin. The ult is used, but everybody from the side of DMG is healthy enough to not die to this. It's actually Rengus who gets the kill on Yang. Avenged by Obliviate, and now they are going into Sojin over here. Jin Yu has a nice bit of damage. Good stopwatch. Make sure that that thing is whole stopped. Vayne got Sojin. Zerg are also low. Obliviate, you do not have mana for that next hook, and in the end, it was a 1-for-1 throughout that whole fiasco.
It was a 1-for-1. That was really rough. So the tower aggro was not juggled properly by Belfast Storm, so that dive didn't come as easy as they wanted it to. Didn't pan out the way they needed it and had to use a Ornn teleport just to get the trade kill.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. That was so much action that happened in those couple seconds, and it was basically the only actions we... Oh yeah, thank you Observer for noting out the fact that the cannon was indeed missed. Very tragic.
Very tragic indeed. Ornn will pick that up though. He's more than happy to. So we'll be making his way back to top. And obviously Camille has an advantage now. Camille having TP available while no other TPs are available on the map. So they can look for a play with the TP if they want to. But they will need the right ward setup for any sort of TP gank or counter gank.
Yeah, there are some opportunities that this TP kit be used. Of course, the dragon is up, and DMG are already starting up on this dragon, pushed out that bot wave, and it feels like for the side of Belfast Storm, they're just gonna be happy to give it up. I mean, I don't think they're in much position to compete against this.
No, not at all, and I don't think they'll care either, because again, it's still one of the early drakes. It's the second dragon. It doesn't matter too much, and we will be getting Ocean for our Soul Dragon when we eventually take enough down.
Yep, that is true indeed. So Ocean Drake is coming up, or has come up, and honestly, this game has been kind of really calm. It feels like all of these players have watched Worlds and they're like, oh my god, these guys are playing so good. We will play more control, we'll play more methodical, because usually I'm used to a lot of UKO going very very bombastic, a lot of fights, a lot of skirmishes 24/7, but this game is weirdly enough very calm, considering that it's DMG versus Belfast.
I'd honestly go to say it's the calmest early game we've seen from both these teams. Belfast have been usually quite proactive in early game and ended up with 5-6 kills, but never transitioned from the mid to the late, unfortunately. Whereas DMG have been very much feast or famine as of late. They've either popped off or gone for a play and it completely backfired. So it is calmest we've ever seen these two, and
okay, the ultimate is used for Shadi Rowdy into Sojin, but Limsey is there to support out, and once again they back off there. No kills.
Yeah, they have the early rotate there with the Camille we know earlier and the Ahri in tow. They decide not to contest that. They don't want to use many resources. It's only a blue buff. It's not worth your life.
Yeah, this is absolutely true. Man, this game, man, I just kind of came into this cast expecting a lot of bloodbaths. So I thought I was going to be talking a lot and yelling a lot, but no, not this time. This time it's a lot more calm. One thing to note, of course, is that Pighead has that Divine Sunder, so that's a really nice, power spike for the side of the Camille. They are starting up that second Herald. We'll see if there's any action.
Yeah, it gives it a lot better trading power into the Ornn, so not surprised that they didn't want to contest this, with them being the ones to rotate first for DMG. Belfast decide against it, and to be honest, a Herald after 14 minutes doesn't matter as much as the early ones do, so it's not the worst. Plates are gone now anyway, so no extra gold other than first tower gold, which is still available.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. 15 minutes in and no towers have been taken down yet. What are we watching over here? LCK or something like that? Man, this is such a slow controlled game. I don't mind. For once, my voice might be completely fine after tonight.
How dare you disrespect LCK like that? They have towers faster than that, man.
No, I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? If anyone can like talk smack about LCK, come on, it's me, man. I am from Korea. I can talk a little bit of smack.
I'll give you that, but do you watch the region?
Yes, I do. I try my best as much as I can.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Right, so
Thank you.
right now for Belfast, they're happy with the current game state. Fiddle only gets scarier the later the game goes on. He's literally like Orianna in the fact that one big ultimate can win the entire team fight, can win the entire game. Same with Orianna. They have such good wombo combo setup. But right now they're just happy with getting Vanguard to at least 2 items before they're going to look for more action. And I think they're more than happy with this state.
Oh yeah, indeed. I mean, honestly, this kind of begs me the question, like, both teams just so happy to play calm and just like not too much of a conflict. Which team do you favor more, like Rail, as the game goes on, like as we go towards those late game fights and maybe potentially even end game?
Well, Belfast have the easier comp to execute because they have clear engage with the Ornn, which just gets set up really well for the Fiddlesticks. And on top of that, it just means that the Orianna ball can easily get lost in this team fight and you won't realize, oh no, it's just Shockwave 3 people. Well, on the side of DMG, they have a bit more of an alternative. They can split push for this comp. So if Camille wanted to hard pressure side lane, they have that option. But as of right now, I would lean towards Belfast comp just because the simplicity of it.
Yes, that's true, and indeed, of course, like comfort picks are very much valued. Simple strategies are, of course, very much valued, but we might see our first bit of action here now. Obliviate, Shroudy Rowdy trying to go in on Zerg. Zerg is kind of caught out here alone. Vanguard trying to retaliate as much as she can, but in the end, it's too little too late. Ooh, a nice shockwave gets 3 people. Followed up by Call of the Forge God, but now the fight has completely splintered out, and Rengis is alone and with no follow-up as a lonely tank over here as Ornn. Even though he might be an assassin, it only applies in lane. A double kill for Pighead, and DMG wins the fight.
Huge fight for DMG, exactly what they needed. They needed to turn up the heat a little bit, and that is a good way about it. Shutting down this bot lane and also picking off Limsey is ideal scenario for DMG, but this dragon is a bit of a scary one. Fiddle still has the Crow Storm available.
Yeah, Yang
this
is so
very dangerous.
Yang is so low as well. Okay, here comes the ultimate. Boom, Shroudy Rowdy is feared. Fiddlestick steals the ultimate. Nice steal from Sojin. He might maybe go down because there's only Zerg to help him out. Oh, wait a second. That fear was so nice. I think he gets out. Yeah, that's just a dragon. Well done, Belfast.
Very clean steal. Like I said, the Crow Storm, very deadly for these sort of things especially. And because that, Camille has to TP back towards the top side, no other value being around that bot side of the map. But for Belfast, it's a small pickup considering how much they just lost not long ago.
Indeed, indeed. At least DMG, after that nice fight they had, have ballooned the lead a bit more to about 3k, so a nice bit of lead, but it's nothing completely dominant, especially considering the fact that both of these teams have such good late game team comps.
Yeah, exactly. Both teams have good scaling into the late game. It's just, I still worry on the fact of just the wombo effect of Belfast. When they get to group as 5, when it's not a lane fight like what's been happening, they might have more agency, they might have more effect on what they want to pull off. But DMG are trying to nullify that as much as possible, trying to enter the jungle, place down as much vision as possible, try to get information on this Fiddlesticks, and it just gives them much more agency of where they can actually go for things when they spot him.
Yeah, they are now sieging down this mid lane tower. Ooh, there is a gank attempt here. Shroudy Rowdy going in, and now he is caught out by Call of the Force Guard. He's feared, he's shredded. Vanguard has a kill, and Vanguard is not backing up anymore. He wants to kill over here on Jin Yu, gets a double kill. You must ban the Vayne against the Vanguard, otherwise he will do performances like this. Rengis gets low, the turret keeps hitting him, and Rengis is gonna go down. Pighead maybe going down too. Yes, he does go down. Shut down for Vanguard. Vanguard so far having 3 kills, now chased by Yang. Good hook coming out from the side of Oblivion, but there's not enough, and Vanguard now potentially getting an unofficial pentakill. Never mind, stole by Limsey. Now Belfast Storm completely turned it around.
Yeah, quadra kill coming out for Vanguard there, having an absolute clean fight for himself. The ultimate catching Vi while she's polymorphed just completely nullified her out the entire fight. She could not do a thing, and they just bought as much space for Vayne as possible. And what do you know? Vanguard did Vayne things.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Real, but that felt like a very rash and maybe like arrogant gank attempt trying to coming out from DMG. Like, everybody was full from the side of Belfast Storm, and they had so many tools up, and they just kind of tried to go in for a dive.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they made me look a little bit silly, because I was just saying that DMG were trying to find vision for the Fiddlesticks to go for a play, and then they completely ignored that and still went for the play on mid. I was like, okay, this is not ideal, and it turned out to be very bad for them in the end, and the gold is pretty much almost tied up now from this play.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like this fight and the fight before gives like a precursor to both teams like win condition. It feels like for DMG, like essentially if you're able to pick them off individually with the Blitzcrank, with the Vi, then DMG wins by just spreading out the Belfast. But otherwise, if Belfast is all clumped up and grouped up together with all their wombo combo like you mentioned, they're gonna win the fights.
Yeah, so there's two important items which have been completed now. Camille hits a very good power spike of Ravenous Hydra, whereas Vanguard has his Trinity Force. So two massive power spikes on each side. We'll have to say which one has more impact, because as of right now, it probably will be leaning towards the Vanguard, just because of the protection he has with the Lulu, but Camille can have a lot of agency in the side lane if they look for pressure onto Rengar now.
I mean, yeah, Vayne and Lulu, tale as old as time. Vayne just alone is Vayne, but together with Lulu becomes Vanguard indeed. So, with 5 kills and 2 items completed, Vanguard poised to become the main carry of this team. And, like, I think the victory for Belfast Storm, if it happened, rests on his shoulder.
Yeah, they've pretty much got a team what's set up for it. That's exactly what they've drafted. Orianna obviously can be a secondary carry, does have good consistent damage. And of course, the Fiddlesticks, the Crowstorms, like I said earlier, can be game winning alone. They are trying to look for side lane pressure, but I'd argue Vi should be other side of the map here.
Oop, here we go. Sojin caught out and just absolutely shredded and 100 to 0'd. Belfast has to back off. The dragon will spawn soon, and in the meantime, we do have Pighead pushing top.
Yeah, now looking for a reply. They're instantly going towards top lane for Belfast, trying to find a response knowing that they can't go for Dragon.
Yeah, but this is Camille. I mean, I have a feeling Pighead will just be able to run away from this no problem at all. In the meantime, DMG will take their second Dragon, so the Dragon score will be 2-2.
Yeah, it's a nice attempt by Belfast. They did the right thing with what they had left over, but unfortunately, DMG do come out on top. They're going to get mid tower as well as the Dragon. That's actually pretty huge.
Yeah, I was going to say, by over chasing and committing really hard into trying to get Pighead out, it feels like they kind of left the defense on the mid lane tower just completely open for DMG to take.
Yeah, and they do deserve praise for the way they played around their vision around Dragon, playing for that pick onto the Fiddlesticks. To be honest, they would be happy for a pick on anyone, but Fiddlesticks is literally the ideal target, since you can't smite anymore because we've taken your jungle off the table. It was just really well done by DMG.
Yeah, and I mean, now looking at the game state, it is very, very even. 2 dragons for each team, 7 to 7 kills. Like, gold lead is barely 2k. I mean, this is as even as it gets, Rail.
I'm still just impressed by how calm DMG have been in this game. They went behind. The early game obviously was very, very quiet. And then they slowly worked their way back into this game. They are now 2k gold up. But Belfast has clawed it back before, so not to be underestimated.
That is true. The 25-minute power spike is a thing, and it is now the 25th minute. They are absolutely piling in on Zerg. Sojin is next, but the fear comes in. Yang goes down, shut down the Wombo combo. Is it happening? Vanguard, can you do it? This is the exact position where Vayne should be able to drive historically, but he does go down. Rengus is left together with Limsey. All the members are getting quite low. Oh, nice knockup coming out from the side of Rengus. Limsey wants this kill on Pighead, but my god, the Divine Sunderer comes out and almost kills Limsey. So in the end, all 5 members wounded, has to back off, but once again, a victory for the side of DMG.
Yeah, Belfast almost got the big Wombo combo off in the jungle, and it almost looked like the turnaround as soon as they got that off, but the stopwatch from Camille completely avoiding the damage from the Orianna Shockwave and the Ornn Call of the Forge God. Clean fight for DMG. They got onto their target who they wanted to. They got onto Vayne pretty quickly. And just when we thought it was going to be a party in the jungle for Belfast, it turned completely in the direction of DMG.
Yes, and I mean, these fights are so close and they're so tooth and nail, and we kind of see once again, like the moment DMG gets a pick, they're winning the fight, and the moment Belfast Gaming has like, or Belfast Storm has like a chance to like group up, suddenly the fight like tips towards them, and it really comes to like these like knife's edge difference. Man, Rail, we got a game in our hands.
We do indeed, and to note, we do have the ornaments starting to come through now, with Ornn being level 14. We have the Infinity Force completed on Vayne, which is such a big boost of extra stats. Do note that these actually help with narrowing some of the gold lead, because you get such good extra stats just from these upgrades alone.
Yes, indeed, and that is really strong. There is a pick here attempted towards Jinyu. Jinyu forced to use the flash. No, not the flash, the ultimate charge. However, one thing to note is that Camille is pushing bot alone, so Belfast, no hesitation, is starting up the Baron. They are willing to flip this Baron. TP coming out for the side of Pighead. This is going to be another fight. Oh, Jinyu has caught out and charmed Vanguard, trying to run away, but Sojin with a nice ultimate. Make sure that Jinyu cannot run away from that position. Yang, where are you going, buddy? He was just completely caught out there. And look at Vanguard just marching in ahead. There is no more front line for the side of DMG. And Vanguard is just chasing Obliviate through their own base and gets another kill over there. This one for sure is a victory for Belfast, and for that, they will get the Baron.
Such a clean ultimate from Sojin as well, catching Ahri on the backline. They knew they had to make a pick to make this Baron work, but there is potential for a Baron steal. They have no information on the Vi. Now they do. They're spamming the pings out, knowing that Vi is above.
Vi is going to try his best, has to dodge the ultimate, use his Q that way. It goes down to 1,000. No, yeah, there we go. Belfast Storm with the Baron. Now the gold league completely dead even.
Just when we think it's going one way, it completely gets flipped by the other. Camille, you cannot recall here.
Ooh, okay, now begins the chase, but this is Camille after all. I mean, she just runs away. She's the Attack on Titan character, you know, like you can just like, you know, bounce on walls all the time.
Yeah, you could probably call her Mikasa, with her being a female character after all. DMG gonna turn their focus towards Dragon, but they're not gonna be uncontested. Belfast Storm are trying to make their way over, but so far it's just Rengeir alone.
Okay, Call of the Force God is used. Boom, pops up Jinyu. The ultimate comes out for the side of Sojin, and another steal comes out. The fight has begun though. Support down, jungler down, 3v5, but currently Vanguard is completely just charmed and killed. Limsey surrounded as well. We had one fight go the way of Belfast Storm, and this fight is all DMG, folks. And my god, that's just going to be a clean ace coming out from the side of DMG. What more can they get off this? Can they potentially end the game?
Yeah, you get Dragon, but at what cost? DMG can look to steamroll this towards an inhibitor. I don't think they'll get much more with the death timers being so short. Big praise to Pighead in that fight as well. The Camille with the Hextech ultimatum locking down Vanguard, and it just set the team up to execute him.
My god, and they got so much from that whole ordeal. Got the inhib tower, got the inhibitor, and now they are 5k ahead. Yes, it's 30 minutes, so maybe it doesn't matter as much, but this is a nice chunky lead that DMG can definitely do damage with.
I would say it is, but from what we have just seen not too long ago, we've just seen the gold flip back and forth, so I'm unsure how I feel about this as of yet. Till I see something a bit more decisive. Both teams have clawed back at gold leads in this entire game so far, so I'm still on the fence. I'm completely unknown to who actually will win this.
No, like me too. I mean, I would say the DMG has a nice lead, but they are not in control of this game at all. The game could flip at a moment's notice, of course. One thing to note here is that Vanguard has completed the 3rd item, so we do have that. It's not the Bloodthirster, it's a new one, the Shield Bow. We have the Shield Bow there as well for Vanguard.
That's what I'm here for, don't worry. I got you. It's my job.
Thank you.
The thing I'm interested to see now, though, is how DMG will carry this momentum. Because they've been looking for picks, but every time they've looked for picks, they've been a tiny bit too slow and haven't really been able to find their targets in the side lane, or Vi's been on the wrong side of the map. Should really be pairing up with this Camille and just trying to find whoever they can find and instantly jump on them. Because they do have very high burst potential. Pretty much could one-shot people unless they have a Zonies.
Yeah, indeed, and you can really tell, like, DMG, despite the fact that they have a bit of a lead and that despite the fact that they have potential to push a bit more, they're definitely choosing not to. They want to be safer. They just want to, like, maybe bide their time, maybe have to fight on their terms. Like, for example, these 2-minute timings on the Dragon and the Baron. I feel like these will be extremely important timers in which maybe the game will be decided.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's definitely going to be the case. It's going to be a game of fighting around these objectives. Camille waiting in the side lane to see if anyone wants to contest these waves, but anyone in their right mind doesn't really want to contest a 4-item Camille because that's terrifying. Maybe Cho'Gath on her Q ability, so I don't blame them for not wanting to sit into that. Ornn is better off just grouped for now, and he'll just answer the wave whenever he needs to.
Yeah, you can really see the impact of this Camille as a side lane pusher. Like, just looking at how much turrets have gone down from the side of Belfast compared to how much has gone down for DMG, it's night and day for sure.
So this is going to be important if they carry on pushing. Fiddle is going to try play in a blind spot, and he just got his ornament as well. So we are fully upgraded now. Actually, it's just Lulu who's missing out. We're nearly fully upgraded for Belfast Storm in terms of ornaments. That will make up some of the gold deficit, but it's not going to make up all of it.
Yes, indeed. And oh my god, the tension is rising. Boom, Rengus tries to go in on Yang. I wonder if they're going to commit too much more to this. Oh, this is Vanguard. She's just going in completely towards Yang. The Call of the Forge God comes up. Yang is super low, but now the fight has begun. Everybody in the middle of everywhere, but we talked about it. Belfast Storm this time is all grouped up together, and like a bunch of bricks, they make up an incredible wall, and boom, that is a nice victory for them.
And just like that, the Fiddlesticks ultimate connecting perfectly for them with the Call of the Forge God and the Orianna Shockwave. That is the combination what they've been looking for, and that is the perfect showing of it.
And the death timers are very awkward for the side of the DMG. Pighead has TP, but will be alive the moment like Baron spawns, essentially. So for the side of Belfast Storm, you have some great opportunities to take some nice objectives here. Maybe potentially even a soul.
Yeah, they could definitely get soul here with Vi being towards the top side of the map. She won't be here at any time soon, so it looks like DMG are pinging towards the Baron. They want to start it on cooldown.
Oh my god, this is going to be exciting. Well, yes, like I mentioned, Pighead will be alive for this, so they have started it up. We'll see, are they fast enough? TP used for the side of Limsey or Rengus. Oh, for Limsey and Rengus both. So from the left and from the right, they're trying to close in into DMG. Baron is very low. Baron will be taken. Baron is secured by the side of DMG, but now the fight has begun. Obliviate, Jinyu trying to go into Vanguard, but Vanguard is so buffed, so ready. Boom! Comes out the ultimate from the side of Shouty Rowdy, and oh my god! They die, but Vanguard at least has the Guardian Angel. Can Vanguard survive more? No, the characters on the side of DMG are somehow surviving this whole ordeal. Limsey trying to get a kill. Yang trying to chase over. Jinyu trying to make sure that things work out. Yang trying to get a kill on Rengus. He does have a bit of that nice bit of temporary HP there to help out. This is the 1v1 against Rengus and Yang. Yang is on a rampage, wins. Support goes down. Pega gets the kill there. And that is going to be DMG wiping out, or almost wiping out, Belfast Storm.
And just like this, the game's instantly flipped back to the opposition, and this is what I mean. You cannot judge who's actually ahead in this game. It's just going to be an inhibitor take because the death timers, Vanguard is up in 10 seconds, Zojin is up in 5 seconds, so all they can take from this Baron is just an inhibitor, so it's really not that much as of yet. That fight was kind of huge though, with Limsey being towards the top side, with Rengear being towards the top side when they TP'd. You don't have that much protection for Vanguard. They can just jump forward. And that's exactly what they did.
Oh my god. You know when we talked about how the game was like so calm and like not too much action was happening? Well, they were saving up all that action for this past 10-15 minutes. Now we have an actual banger of a game.
And Camille can look to pressure these side lanes a bit easier now. With the mid lane naturally going to push with a super minion, they can look to 1-3-1, which is not too bad for DMG, but Belfast do have very good force. So if they catch someone out of position, they will pull the trigger.
Yes, indeed. I mean, this is super tense. Like, but once again, like the weakness with Belfast Storm's comp, if there is one, of course, is the fact that they have a hard time splitting up, trying to, you know, deal and handle with these split pushers. The moment Ornn is gone here, suddenly their team comp is so much more vulnerable.
Yeah, and smart optimization by the Ahri, picking up the Banshee because there is a lot of single target damage coming from Belfast, so able to avoid one big chunk of damage will definitely assist this Ahri with doing her job and getting to the backline or trying to get towards Vayne. I mean, even if he doesn't get to Vayne, if you can take Limsey out the equation, that is pretty much good enough.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, we just saw how much of an effort there was to take down Vanguard. So much was used, and of course, from the side of Belfast, so much was used to try to protect Vanguard. But in the end, Vanguard wasn't able to survive, and that's kind of what led to the loss of their team fight. The moment Vanguard dies, so much of their DPS is suddenly gone from the side of Belfast. So they have to really watch out for Vanguard's protection.
And they're tunneling towards this top side now. They know 5 members are all towards here. For Belfast, I want to see Pink Wards. I want to see this to be Pink Ward heaven towards the front of their base. You need one exactly where Rengear just was in that pixel brush, and you need to either just place one directly over the wall near that, just to watch any picks coming over, like an Ahri, like a Vi flying over a wall, or even a Blitzcrank hook. So there's a lot you have to watch out for, and they need to be careful with how they step up.
Oh man, and that's the thing, like, you might be the best dodgeball player in the world, but like when it's so many balls just coming your way, you can't dodge them all, for sure. And so like, of course, Vanguard might be getting caught a little bit here and there during fights, but you can't really blame him at all. There's like 10 skill shots to dodge, you know?
If you can't dodge a wrench, you can't dodge a ball. I'll leave you with that one. Good
reference, good reference.
They do have objectives coming up very soon, with Elder Dragon 1 minute 30, the Baron 2 minutes. This game has been fully just fought around any objective. Whenever a Baron, Dragon, Herald has come up, both teams want to fight tooth and nail, and Mid Inhibitor will be spawning back soon, so that will help Belfast out. But stepping into blind vision is going to be very dangerous for Belfast, because they do not have that vision control as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of vision control, look at DMG's vision control. Just look at the amount of wards they have offensively placed around their opponent's base. Because just knowing that the opponent is just too cautious, I mean, they can't, like you mentioned, step up too aggressively.
Yeah, and they're already getting that early setup around this dragon. Remember, one hook could change things entirely.
The charm almost getting in. Obliviate and Jin, you start to back up. Okay, they're just going in here. They're just trying to get as many as they can. Only goes towards Obliviate, the call of the Forge God. So in the end, the fight will start. Wow, he absolutely melts. I thought he was supposed to be a tank, but apparently he's just an assassin, so he dies like one. In the meantime, the wombo combo is coming out. Vanguard, oh my god, absolutely resurrected over here. Can Vanguard do it? Can he do it? He gets the shutdown at least, so this is a start. Vanguard is at least a little bit healthy enough, but Pighead gets a nice double kill, a triple kill for Pighead, and Pighead and Shouty Rowdy holding hands together will march on towards the enemy Nexus and win the game.
And to note at the start of that fight, Obliviate caught Vanguard with a hook instantly. Pighead is going to have a big head after this because he has had a monster of a game on this Camille and should be able to end this more or less because the death timers are long
Oh,
enough.
wait a second. The inhibitor? The inhibitor! Is it going to spawn in time? Yes, it does. Death, no, the inhibitor. This is happening so many times and Pighead has to just take out this inhibitor. And I think he's not going to be able to end the game and he's just going to have to back off because now Rengus, Zerg is alive, but Pighead doesn't want to make the game go any much more. So he is going for the base race over here. So much CC coming down. It gets so low. Pighead, can you do it? Expect baby. Yes, Pighead does it and DMG wins the game.
Just when you said it was going to be a quiet game, you had to say it, Eju. You had to say it. Look what you could have done. You cursed these people to have a chaotic game, and we expect nothing less from DMG and Belfast Storm. DMG taking that win, being able to ride some momentum, hopefully, off this after their current few losses. So definitely a big bounce back for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. They must be feeling great. And Belfast Storm is a formidable opponent. And especially a great team fighting team, like once you get to the mid-late game part. So I feel like DMG, going against such a good team fight comp, must be feeling proud about their victory. I think they played super well, coordinated very well. They played with their strength, like super well, Rail.
Yeah, they did really well to go against Belfast comp, with their comp being a heavy Womba combo comp. It is very scary to play into because no one mistake, you're instantly going to get jumped on from 2 screens away. So it narrows down your reaction time and what you can do. But DMG played that really well. Pighead having a massive game on this Camille, always finding his target, always finding Vanguard. Very, very important play by him in this game.
Like you mentioned, Rayo, Pighead is big head, and hopefully the next match will be as big as this one. It will be Arcadia versus Venom Crest. I'm sorry, my brain is suddenly completely mushed up. We'll be back after a break. See you guys then.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. There's an analyst desk that has returned. We're back in the box. I'm here, Brackish Brit, alongside other directions, Zathos and Synergy, to have a quick breakdown of that previous game between Belfast Storm and DMG. DMG coming out on top. They've been having a tumultuous time, Synergy, but what's the key aspects of that game in particular that really shone for you?
I think we've got to highlight Sujin here. Had a very, very good performance on Fiddlesticks, instrumental in getting in the Dragon Soul. I think also, we saw another solid performance from Rengis. Was able to keep the Camille at bay for the majority of the early to mid game. Obviously, towards the end, that wasn't quite so possible. But that's Camille at 6 items. It's not something you're going to stop.
I heard a champion name there, and the person playing the Camille certainly did a heck of a lot of work in that game, Zathos. Fantastic showing from him indeed. And on the converse side, obviously, we can't talk about that. I mean, you already talked about it a little bit, Synergy, of Belfast Storm. They had a good thing going on. They had this Wombo-y composition. What do you think that Pighead and the rest of DMG did to really frustrate that play style and make it hard for them to get full value out of it?
Sure. I mean, I think I kind of have to talk a little bit about Belfast as well here, in the way that a lot of the team fights ended up playing out, and that it felt a little bit disjointed at times, which I think made DMG's lives a bit easier. The Ornn ults and the Fiddle ults going out early when they're looking to steal an objective, and then you're playing a composition which is pretty much entirely focused around this Vayne, right? So you want to protect the Vayne. It's throwing back to the ardent days of League of Legends and AD carries there. And because of the kind of champions you've got in DMG, you've got Vi, you've got Ari, you've got Camille, they're all looking to dive in, get that Hextech ultimate down, and then just lock the Vayne down. Because if she's allowed to run around with the Lulu, yeah, she's going to be a nightmare, constantly going in and out of stealth, tumbling everywhere. But if you can actually physically lock her in a small space, as the Hextech ultimate does, then you've got a much easier time to killing her, and then suddenly a 1,000 true damage Camille Q is going to make the Vayne evaporate, right? So I think there was a good mix of Belfast struggling a little bit with their engages and not quite playing to how their actual composition wants to play, which is kind of backwards when you've got an AD carry focus comp like that. But equally, to credit DMG's credit, they always found good flank angles. They always found these opportunities to dive into the backline, get the Vayne locked down, and I think they were quite patient with their skill usage a lot of the time until they could find that pick, and then once they did, team fight over sort of thing.
Fantastic showing from them. We are going to leave that game behind us, though, because we have 3 more games to get through this evening, and we are running a little bit behind the clock. So we head on towards our next game of the day. Arcadia up against Tempest Gaming. Tempest took the loss against Belfast Storm last week. We attempted to talk about it before the unfortunate issues. Of course, apologize for those. We are back. We are back in the box, so the rest of the day shall hopefully go without further issue. But yes, Arcadia versus Tempest. Zathos. Tempest's got to be coming in with something to prove.
Yeah, to say the least, because of course Tempest being 9-0 beforehand, lose the game, we'll say by small mistakes to say the least, but this team has been dominating the whole entire series. Scream, Denosi, Kusai, Beatrice and Busi just doing absolutely amazing. And remember in the last time, we did see Beatrice actually going towards the 80k position, trying to have a bit of fun, it seems like, in the UKEL. However, kind of didn't go their way, did actually lose against Belfast Storm earlier on. So hopefully if we have Beatrice in the top lane, we should see the dominance come back from Tempest Gaming.
Yes. We very much believe Beatrice is back in the top lane for today's game. On the flip side, however, we do, of course, have Arcadia, a team who has shown us some very good things, especially in their team play. But it's not always been working out so much for them. However, Synergy, they've been looking more and more, synergistic as things have been going on, and it's been looking up for them.
Yeah, I mean, after we say, so I was about what I was about to say is, the roster stability, right, is kind of improved for them. They went through a quite tumultuous time and having lots of different players, different roles. So that's today they do have Monge back in the top lane, and they're missing Synapse today. But I think this kind of core four at the bottom, Shida, Brixton, Blank, and Galaxy, they've been showing a lot of good stuff. I think they've struggled a little bit more against some of the other more individually talented teams, but I've been really impressed with the development we've seen from Arcadia in their map play. They played to their win conditions very well. They work as a team very well. And as we say every single week in, week out, Brixton and Blank have just been putting in monster performances for them. Brixton especially, he has, or even if pressure is put towards him, he's always kind of able to bounce back from that, right? And he's always remained relevant on champions like Orianna, just getting big shockwaves all the time.
You know what else he has, Synergy? He has a fairly religious fan base in Twitch chat. I see you there. We're going to be close to getting on into the draft, though. But Zathos, I want to hit you with this. As Synergy said, Arcadia has at times struggled with the more hands-focused teams. Tempest has kind of outhandsed a lot of teams so far in this split. If Arcadia are to take this one, how do you think they do it?
Well, you said about simplicity is probably the way to go from the side of Arcadia. If you can't outhand them, just out macro them. Make sure that you are making these plays where it's 4 versus 5, and you can do that by maybe having a heavy roaming mid that can constantly move around the map, can constantly help out the team, or maybe even just playing a simple front-to-back fight. And with how both these teams like to play, I'm expecting Tempest to throw everything at Arcadia so they're able to hold on and get to this late game. I still think they're in a great chance to try and take this, especially when we saw the cracks come in on the side of Tempest Gaming, even though they kind of did to themselves with that swap.
Just a quick correction of, I think, what we see currently. The Arcadia are on the blue side of the draft right now, but we are progressing forwards. Already see the Nico, Poppy, and the terror of the Jinx taken away.
Yeah, that was something we saw starting to creep in last week, and we saw some huge Jinx performances. I believe Blank played Jinx actually last week. But if you are, Tempest obviously be favourites here, but if you're going to look to remove the carry threat from anyone, it's definitely going to be on Blank, and Jinx is one of those champs that's absolutely able to pop off right now. And the Orianna taken away again, not a surprise at all. Brix has been so good on that champion. So trying to force him on something a little bit less comforting, I would say.
Jarvan also taking away. So, I mean, that's one of the picks that Dunlosy has been doing, well, Dunlosy things on. With a couple of members of the broadcast team have pointed out, he kind of just shows up and things happen. Not necessarily because of Dunlosy, but he always seems to be in the right place when he's needed. Arcadia, of course, with the first pick. We'll see what they look to prioritize. Obviously, I don't certainly expect Blank to go for the likes of a Vayne or something, but that, yeah. I remember the voice of Zhika in my head saying that she's good friends with Blank, and yeah, that Xayah does seem very much his sort of thing.
Yeah, accountability really on the side of Arcadia, because when we see everything that Tempest has actually tried to ban away from him, they're very simple. You got the Jinx, you got the Orianna, and anything that can really keep you safe, but still with the Xayah available, going to give them a bot lane where they aren't really going to be able to lose it very hard. While Tempest Gaming are coming out the gate running, picking up the Jace, remember, going to be incredible at trying to poke you out in this early game. Of course, has that pressure and can try and go for those outplays. Now they are most likely going to be able to pick up the jungler. Love this Maokai coming out, gives a little bit more lockdown, give a little bit more CC, but most importantly, able to push the pace of this game and get these skirmishy fights, which we know Tempest are just so good at.
Yeah, just on that, I think Tempest themselves, they're obviously one of the kind of, in every single role, they have players that they almost would always be number one in each of their roles. I mean, it's Kusai especially, right? We've always kind of highlighted him as the number one kind of mid at the moment. I was about to say before that was locked in, I think Rakan is the likely option. I remember having Galaxy have a huge performance on that last week and really actually turning a game in Arcadia's favour. Obviously, when you pair it with the Xayah, it just makes sense, right? So that makes a lot of sense to me there. I'm a serial Maokai hater. I'm not going to... Ooh, it's a Zac, though.
I want that Zac.
Yeah, that's locked in. So
it's locked.
I think this might be the first Zac pick this season.
I'm interested to see perhaps if Monge wants to be a bit spicy and take it towards top lane. Obviously, I remember the times where Bwipo was pulling out the Zac top lane a couple of years back. don't necessarily see that happening, of course. That's more than likely to go into Sheeta's hands in the jungle. But of course, the insane range on Elastic Slingshot can lead to some very interesting gank pathings as Scream throws down the gauntlet with the Draven.
Yeah, and the Draven's actually a great counteraction against the Zac, because when he tries to slingshot in there, just throw the axes out in front of you, completely just stops everything he wants to do in this early game. The way I'm seeing both these team comps, Arcadia are heavy focusing on these big team fights, trying to have a bounce house in the enemy team and being able to just blow them up with just pressing buttons on them, compared to the opposite side of Tempest Gaming, which is trying to go for these lanes, trying to get these early game leads. Of course, Maokai being a heavy ganking jungler, now after Draven, now after Jace, will most likely be focusing down towards the bot side, which means the top lane has been picked up for them. So that is most likely to be the bans that Arcadia are going to try and take away.
I think this. I love what I'm seeing from Tempest here. This is just raw, like, pure confidence, right? In these picks, going early. Jace is someone that kind of wants to dominate the lane. As you rightly said, Zath, the Maokai is just going to be a facilitator here, right? And that's something we expect from Dunlos. He's very much like, he's where he needs to be all in the right times. He's not necessarily like a carry style jungler in every situation. But this Draven, I like this. It's very ballsy. I do worry that Zac is going to have a field day trying to gank that bot lane at some points. But if and as we know, Scream is very talented AD carry. He's very good with that. The Draven E can just knock Zac out of his own Elastic Slingshot, right? So we'll have to see how that goes. I would love to see a Trundle pick here. Trundle, best counter to Zac you'll ever have. And you can pillar his jump, and also take all his talent attacks. So. That's my would love to see pick here, but I don't.
At this point in the draft, though, how would you fit a Trundle in? Well, instant Janna. Instant Janna.
Really well,
I love that
for Buzzy. Yeah. I mean, I have the Storm giving even more AD onto the Draven. Yep, feels pretty strong. Arcadia, see how they look to fill out their draft. I'm certainly not believing any of those hovers, and of course, Kusai's signature terrifying Akali did get taken off the board as the final ban.
Yeah, very smart from the side of Arcadia for trying to take that out. So we'll actually be locking in the Gnar towards the top side. And we talked about this Janna being an amazing pickup. The reason you haven't seen it so much is because it doesn't give that sense of agency Tempest want. However, it gives great disengage tools. So Arcadia tries to come in. Janna says no, takes them out, allows them to engage the Draven afterwards to be in a very good position. But Arcadia, the way they're drafted, now this is a team that knows what they want to do. They want to go in. They want to find this wombo combo. And now that Annie facilitated as well, if we do see something like an assassin placed in the mid lane or even the Jace, and he can just easily use the Tibbers to allow your Xayah to stay safe, and they have incredible front to back.
Or they can just take the Tibbers for themselves, Zathos, says it's going to be Kusai looking towards the Sylas. Perhaps we'll actually see if
these might be a top lane Sylas. Battery is definitely a former Sylas player, so that's where I'm thinking, but we'll know after 20 seconds.
I mean, they've got to both be Sylas players, surely.
Oh, for sure.
That fits Kusai's wheelhouse
here,
through
right?
and through.
But yeah, it makes more sense, I think, to have Sylas against Gnar rather than Jace, perhaps.
It's also been a hot minute since we've seen the Annie.
Yeah, I think it might be the first one this split again. I definitely wouldn't have been seeing it in the previous iteration of the UKL because she was just not picked in pro play at all, really, right? So it was only as of recently that we've seen that. But I like what Arcadia have here, as you kind of said. They know what they want to do. They want to be jumping in. They want to be landing big Tibbers or Zac Slingshot, whatever it is. Whatever goes in first, they have so much good follow-up. They are obviously just looking to lock down the Draven, the Jace, and just burst them immediately. If they can do that. Obviously, Janna as well is quite squishy. If they can remove Janna, allows Zac to go in as well.
I think you have to give actually really good props to both of these teams. When somebody shows one card, they instantly come out with the counter action. And how both these team clubs actually want to play is Arcadia instantly wants to, assassinate them like you said before. But now Tempest in kind of an awkward situation where they have the Draven that wants to try and get a big lead, wants to just constantly run into your face and just deal a bunch of damage. But now he can't. So they need to play these team fights to perfection, really. First, let them disengage and then find a re-engage afterwards. Fortunately, with the Maokai, this can be possible. But I have to say, Arcadia's team comp, for me personally, I think it's just so much easier to execute and most likely going to be stronger mid to late games.
Yeah, I think we're relying on Tempest. Well, I think Tempest, they've definitely gone for a bit more of a we know we're better than you kind of comp. And I like that. I like that confidence. It brings some spice to the league. Yeah. But it does have the possibility, if they do fall behind, if they make any misplays, and again, it's not something we would hugely expect from them, given what we've seen, but, they could very well fall behind, and if the Draven's behind and not able to do damage, and kind of just those huge axes, if he hits Ali with one, and he's fed, she's gone. But if they can't get there, they're actually going to struggle quite a lot, I think, potentially here. So the early game is going to be very, very key for Tempest here, and I think we'll be able to guess a lot from how that goes as to how the rest of the game is going to go.
I see you guys tiptoeing around the crux of the issue here, and I'm afraid I'm not going to let you do that this time around. I want you to put your money where your mouth is for this game. Synergy, you were chatting last, so I'd like to have you... Do you think that this Tempest composition is going to roll hard enough? Or do you think Arcadia might actually be able to mitigate them and outplay later on?
I think I'm still going to give it to Tempest. I can't not give it to them based on their kind of just previous performances. It'd be silly to not bet in their favor, So, if you're going to ask me to a full decision, I'm still going to say Tempest. I do think, kind of as I just said before, I guess, that if they don't manage to get that lead early game, they are then in theory going to struggle. But we've also seen them just play the map really well throughout the split. So there's lots of angles for them. I do agree that the Arcadia comp is a bit easier to execute on the face of it, though.
Do you agree with that, Zelf?
I'm a big underdog story type person. Remember, we already had them do pretty well in the UKEL so far. They are right now 7th place. If they're able to pick up the win here, could be in contentious or getting themselves up to that top 4 if they win a couple more afterwards. And I love going for the people who aren't meant to win. And I think their team comp is better. So I will have to say, Arcadia, show me why you guys deserve this.
I'm glad that I don't have to be the contrarian. I'm glad that, it's like, the analysts are being sensible and the host has to be the one to, sound silly. But to be fair, though, if it's J-Real, then that guy's just like, all right, cool, bet. And, I mean,
we'll be betting.
He's been present for 2 Lions Creed wins already. He's going to be on the desk after this game, so he's going to be present for a 3rd one. Do we see a 3rd Lions Creed win?
That's a question for the next analyst who will be covering that game. I think I wouldn't want to detract from the spectacle that we're about to see. But you haven't given us your prediction yet. Quick one before we go to the game, which I don't think is too long away.
I do like to also be a contrarian, but realistically, one Wibbly game coming out from Tempest is not going to be enough to shake my faith in them. They have been so dominant for the entire rest of the split that much as I like to meme, it would be silly of me not to say that Tempest are favoured in this game.
Brackish, I'm not memeing here. I'm just saying, I am full serious to everybody at home. I am here to watch Arcadia, well, not say dominate, but win the game, at least.
I don't believe you.
How am I meant to prove this? Chat, I'm with you guys. Arcadia's going to win, all right? Hand on heart.
See, I've worked with you before. And I'm used to you memeing. So now I'm unsure if you're truly serious or not.
Well, how bans is a big thing for the UK.
He's transcended.
So, who knows?
His methods are beyond mortal means.
Yeah, I've been doing those reverses you see in anime where it's like, oh, we actually went for this idea, and it's like, no, actually, the reverse idea of that, and I've done that 3 more times, so everybody at home can try and calculate what I'm saying. But no, I still believe it. They are going to be picking up the win here.
Okay. Wow, that's a bold claim.
Yeah, we'll find out if ease of
execution see very soon, I think.
And that strong macro that we have known Arcadia for are enough to weather the Tempest, as we will be getting onto Rift in just a moment's time. While we're waiting, though, any particular person you want to look out for on the Rift, Zappy first?
Well, for me, I guess you'll take the Tempest game, and I'll go for Arcadia. I really want to take a look and, well, with the team that they've actually drafted, love to actually see this bot lane duo come up, especially Galaxy in the bot side. Seeing if he is able to, on this regard, try and find some roams up towards the mid lane, maybe even look around this top side to see if they can get anything done in this early game, because it's usually counteractions you see coming out from the side of Arcadia, but I'd really like for them to maybe be a little bit more proactive. If they're able to do so and get themselves a little bit of a lead, makes that late game just a little bit easier to get to.
Any 5 words of you, Synergy?
I am just going to say, Scream. I want to see this Draven pop off. Absolutely go ham. There you go. There's my word.
Nice.
And I believe we're going to go to game soon.
We are indeed. We're going to send it across to game. We've got eJune standing by alongside Rail to bring this game to you guys. Take it away.
Thank you very much from the desk. And yes, we are going to have a very exciting game indeed. It is going to be Arcadia on the blue side versus Tempest on the red. David versus Goliath, a little bit of a situation here. Arcadia looking better. Tempest, they're coming off a loss, but we'll be honest, that loss isn't really like the craziest loss. I'm once again here with Rail. Rail, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing even better after seeing these drafts. It's seeing Bear Tree take Silas into the Gnar matchup. It's a rough one. All I'm gonna say to Monge is good luck, have fun. It is not a nice one to play as Gnar, because Silas early game damage, especially level 1, gets heavily underestimated because he has a 2-part E, so he can get his passive twice. It is a big burst of damage not to be underestimated.
Oh man, indeed, that is going to be an interesting matchup. And kind of like the analyst said, this is going to be a very interesting game because from Tempest Gaming, they have a nice, complex team comp that is hard to execute, but still very, very good. In the meantime, Arcadia has a much more simpler, straightforward team comp. And so, at least for me, this game becomes a lot more exciting. Are we going to see like Tempest Gaming show a masterclass of like understanding this complex team comp and just annihilating Arcadia, or is it going to be the other way around where like Arcadia just steadfast and steady with this nice like team comp they drafted for themselves get a victory over Tempest?
I'd say that's where I'm happy with Arcadia, is the fact that they drafted something simple, very straightforward, knows what they want to do. Obviously, Zach doesn't have the best early game agency because his dash, his jump isn't that big, level 1. Once he gets a couple of points in that, his gank patterns become so difficult to ward against. You'll be able to find paths either 2 screens away or directly behind from their turret. So it becomes a much more scarier champion at that point. So I feel like both junglers are just going to opt towards a full clear first.
Yeah, but kind of interesting here already. Shada not taking his red and instead going very quickly up towards his blue. Maybe trying to look for an early gank towards Monge.
I believe this is just one of the jungle pathings we've been seeing at Worlds, is some junglers can do Raptors into Wolves, Blue Gromp, and then they potentially can look for an early gank if they want to. If not, they can still opt towards that full clear, but it does open up them options for either mid or top.
Oh my god, we're already seeing Worlds meta influence and shape our very own UKEL. So that is very interesting and exciting to see. Speaking of top lane action, Dunlosi is now here. And he has noticed that there is no ward for the side of Monge. Monge still on the Mega Gnar form. Kusei has left the game. We'll hope that that gets resolved very soon. But otherwise, we do see that maybe there is potentially a gank angle for the side. Okay, Dunlosi going in. Gets the W. Nope, not enough range. Nice escape from Monge.
Yeah, classic Gnar bounce. As soon as he's got minions to jump on, he's a lot safer. Extends the jump range with that. Very, very safe, and does reveal where Dunlosi is. Meanwhile, Hida did have time to quickly get a base in and then head towards his bot jungle, so he will be slightly ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and it's great, of course, to see Blank and Galaxy together here in bot lane, playing as Xayah and Rakan, the two couples. They're just having a nice date over there on bot side. But going, of course, against Scream and Buzzy, who've been playing so well. Scream especially, like, such an amazing player, and this time on Draven.
Yeah, Scream's Draven last time was absolutely disgusting, so does have to play a little bit safe early, with it being against Xayah Rakan being very, very strong, levels 1 to 3 especially. Not really a matchup you want to trade into early. So he's just stacking his adoration at the moment till he sees the right moment to cash in.
Indeed. I mean, okay, we do see a little bit of like both junglers are on the bot side. There is Kusei just having a nice trade into Brixton. I wonder if this is going to become anything more than just a trade because Brixton is so low. That's just the first blood going to Kusei. Solo Bolo!
Just Kusei things. The man has looked absolutely disgusting this entire split so far, and he continues to assert his dominance in the mid lane.
Oh, they are going in though. Flash stun coming out from the side of Brixton. Hooked back in. Shada trying to get as much damage as he can, but there isn't enough of a follow-up, and Kusei is still alive. And so this means that this is probably going to be the end at the moment for Shada. Can Shada get out? Nope, he cannot. And wait a second, Brixton, you're just all alone here. That's Kusei getting another kill. That's 3 quick kills, and Brixton somehow dying twice in all this exchange.
And that's absolutely massive. And the player
Oh my God!
he's completely dead. That's what I mean when the Silas second part of his E connects. The damage is insane. And what a start for Tempest.
Man, you know, what's the point of macro, Rail? What's the point of team composition and draft and all that when Tempest Gaming just decides to show the absolute hand stiff they have on everybody else? Already the gold lead ballooning to 1.5k.
They had the right idea of looking for the reaction on Kusei. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the damage to get the execution there. And that's just how Tempest was able to say, okay, you've used all your cooldowns now. I don't need to be scared of anything. Kusei doesn't need to be scared of anything. And they could just go forward.
Man, oh man, and especially that mid lane, if I saw correctly, the observers did show like 1k gold lead, and that was an incredible amount. Shada here at least trying to look for an angle in bot lane. If they want to get anything started, maybe it could be bot lane here, but Scream and Buzzy being careful, just backing off, and the wave slowly pushing into them, they have nothing to worry about.
And they should know by now, Buzzy is the master of being safe. He knows when you want to engage. This man will play any supportive champion like Braum or Janna to deny you. He doesn't care if he is not playing these playmaking supports. He'll happily just be denial all game long and just laugh in your face every time he does it.
Oh my god, and Bear Tree absolutely terrorizing this top lane. Just going absolute Silas bananas over here into Monge, and Monge just having to play so careful. Oh, in the meantime, Brixton is getting caught off again. The anti-ult is out, so Tipper is burning them quite nicely, but in the end, they're not able to do much from the side of the bot lane. Kusei getting another kill. Kusei now 3-0.
3-0 Jace with a Dirk is absolutely disgusting at this stage. His pressure already is massive, and it's only 7 minutes in.
Yeah, and immediately just going after the Drake as well. I mean, this is the thing that we always talked about and praised about Tempest. They're just their early game proactivity. They know, they have a really good understanding of like, okay, we took this lead, what exactly can we take? And they try to extract as much advantage as they can from every exchange.
Yeah, and they're not slowing down. They're going to take a dragon for their troubles. Shouldn't really be contested on this. They're looking to collapse Arcadia, but they don't have a way in, so they wisely decide not to go against it. Draven should be pretty stacked up in terms of his adoration right now as well. So, Scream, having a fun time. He's doing exactly what he wants to do, and he'll be able to cash in massive when he does get a kill.
Yes, indeed. Oh my god, wait a second. Is this Bear Tree trying to go in on Monge again, this time stealing the ultimate? Wait a second, that's his ult! You can't just do this. Monge having to use the flash just to back off from that whole situation. They are going in on Buzzy though. This is Galaxy and Blank. I mean, you know, Blank having level 6 is pretty strong, but look at Scream, just no fear at all, just screaming ahead of his opponents. Nice trade.
Yeah, with Scream having a Dirk in the early game as well, it also is like the Jace benefactor. Once you have that early Dirk, it is such a damage boost having lethality early, because you don't have much stats against it, so it's more or less close to true damage.
Yep, oh, here it is, into Kusei, but Shada, you're not even level 6, buddy, and Kusei's like, yeah, you sure you want to be here? Back off, man, back off. Oh my god, those autos hurt so much!
Nearly actually got the kill on Toshida there. Big damage from Kusei. Not scared of any gank right now. This man is looking completely fearless.
I mean, yeah, 3 kills. Just look at the amount of damage he has, and Bear Tree having to back off again. The ultimate comes out from Dunlosi. Monge is rooted, but he is at least safe.
And we're getting a roam from Kusei, but he's just deciding whether he wants to commit to this. He is going to commit to this, but he is seen on vision.
Yeah, in the
damage
meantime,
there.
Bear Tree getting a kill there on top lane. Another solo bolo. Kusei here trying to make sure that both side lanes suffer as much as they can.
Yeah, the null pick isn't that wise on current patch. He is in a decent spot, I'll give him that. But he isn't as blindable as he used to be, and 40 is playing into the Jace, which is an okay matchup. I generally find Jace still ends up winning that as soon as he gets Dirk. Into Sylas, it's even worse.
Yeah, I mean, and just look at the 2 solo carries from the side of Tempest Gaming. 2-0 for Bear Tree, like you mentioned. 3-0 for Kusei. It really feels like our Tempest Gaming, just through sheer laning alone, are just going to start taking control of this game. 4k gold lead already.
Yeah, and there was never any doubts between the individual skill of the players of Tempest Gaming. There is still windows for Arcadia. It's not fully lights out yet. Like, they still have a comp where if they barrel down on someone...
Oh! Oh my god! Scream playing absolute crazy, like, just an absolute sniper gets the kill on Brixton. I'm so sorry for interrupting you there.
I mean, I'm glad you can't see my face right now, because I was just sat there in shock. Scream is just heading straight to the bank with all them adoration. He is more than happy with that big chunk of gold he's probably just got, because he's farmed to 90 minions before he got his stack caching.
Wait, this is a kill. He's trying to, Monge is trying to do into Bear Tree. Can he get the kill? The flash comes out, Bear Tree survives with a slither of HP.
Can we take a quick look at the gold chart right now? I want to see how much that put Draven ahead of Desire in this lane. And Draven's at 4.8k gold earned, Desire's 3.5. Adoration's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Draven for sure is the richest man in bot lane now. If the moment he goes back, he could buy a car if he wants, but of course, being responsible pro gamers, he's probably going to buy some nice items.
Yeah, the man's going to come back very, very scary in this lane, and it's not going to be one you want to trade into. Already looking at that damage, and he doesn't have a completed item just yet, it's going to get a lot worse.
I mean, my god, Tempest Gaming once again showing how dominant they are as a team, really showcasing why they are the #1 team in UKEL. What isn't going right for them? The junglers are doing well, mid lane's doing well, but exactly as I say that, Kusei potentially caught out here. Some burst comes out, but Kusei is still alive. He isn't healthy per se, but he is still alive. Bot lane is here trying to help out as well. He is charmed, he is knocked up. Shutdown, unfortunately going to Shada, but at least a shutdown is a shutdown. They're trying to retaliate. Buzzy, nice tornado to make sure Shada couldn't follow up.
Yeah, shutdown's a shutdown. You'll happily take it. It doesn't matter who gets it at the stage because you are behind a quite a bit. So you just want to get whatever gold you can get back into your pocket. This is the scary thing about this lane. Sylas has Everfrost now. He can look for you at any moment.
Yep. I mean, just look how much he's chasing off Monge. Monge can't even be in XP range, so he's like falling behind in gold and XP. There is a fight attempted here. Whoa, that's just everybody just absolutely knocked up. They do get the dragon, but now we have Scream absolutely unleashing his terror on the bot side. Oh my god, Blank gets the nice Feather Storm over there. Galaxy gets the kill, trying to run away now. Kusei and Buzzy chasing together, gets the kill into Galaxy. Shada trying to run away as much as he can. Can he run away from this? It seems like, nope, he's not going to be able to run away either. So another team fight victory for Tempest Gaming. Oh, wait, the TP!
TP to save the Zac, but it's not actually going to save him, unfortunately. So this is going to be taken down, and unfortunately the Tibbers missing the mark, so no Annie ult available in the mid lane, which is massive against Jace. If you don't have Tibbers available, he can look at you at any moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is just going from bad to worse. 14 minutes in, already 7k gold lead for Tempest Gaming. They are playing without any mercy. They kind of feel like they're playing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. Maybe they're a bit upset, like, we lost that last game we weren't supposed to lose. We're going to come in today and we're going to absolutely show them why we are the boss of this entire rift. This gank, this dive attempt trying to come out from our Tempest. Oh, Shada barely missing, and now Shada in the middle of 4 people. Nice feather E from the side of the Xayah to get out of the situation. Brixton is here. Kusei is getting a bit oomed. Nice stun coming out there too, but it's just that there's just too much of a wall of diff at the moment. Just look at everybody from the side of Arcadia absolutely massacred. This is war crime levels of dominance that is completely being shown from Tempest Gaming.
Utter dominance. There's no other better word to say it right now. Tempest have completely taken over. 15 minutes, 10k gold lead. It is very, very rough to come back into this. There is angles, don't get me wrong, but against this level of Tempest where they're not slowing down, it's going to be extremely difficult to find any of them angles to even come back into this.
Yeah, when you say angles, I'm thinking like 2 degrees maximum of an angle. It's like the smallest angle ever. Cause like, my God, this is just solo queue unstoppable coming out from Kusei. Kusei just absolutely like just dunking on everybody in league. It's like he's playing against just average players almost. It's kind of crazy right now.
It is kind of crazy. Kusei nearly has that Mana Moon online as well, which is such a massive power spike for Jace. And to have it this early, 15 minutes? Monge, my friend, you need to get out of dodge.
Oh wait, Monge at least has the ultimate. Okay, there is support from the side of Arcadia. Bear Tree is knocked up like 10 times, so he gets shut down. Buzzy is caught off a bit, but now comes Scream. And look at the Draven. He is an executioner indeed on a killing spree. And my God, I have to ask, Rail, are some of the things Tempest Gaming doing, are they even legal, man?
I'd probably go for no.
Oh wait, okay, here it comes. Boom, shutdown. Wait, I might have spoken too soon. Arcadia, are they able to do this? They are lacking in gold. They are lacking in damage, but they are at least united as a team, trying to face down against Kusei. Gets 1 kill. Nice shutdown at least.
Yeah, getting some gold back into their team. It's definitely going to help them a little bit, but it's not going to buy them too much. Herald obviously will help them. They do have objectives, bounties, so this will be a nice take for them if they can get it. But
yeah, I mean,
the low sea is nearby.
I feel like they're doing the right option, right? I mean, they just need gold. They just need money as much as they can. They're desperate for any bits they can. Nice bounty claim.
And they also have the bounties on the tower as well, so this Herald could be valuable. They just need to find a place to use it. But as of right now, they haven't really found any chance to put much damage on any tower.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely right. Oh my God, Tempest Gaming, just as the like minutes go past, it's just going like more and more better for them. Dragon is gonna be up soon, and I have a feeling Arcadia is not even gonna be anywhere close to this dragon.
They would be wise not to go near it. As of right now, I don't think there's any chance they can step forward to the dragon. They can opt towards a steal, but whether it's going to be worth your life is going to be a bigger question. Draven collects a Trinity Force, BF Sword. This man is massive.
Oh my God. I mean, but who isn't massive from the side of Tempest Gaming? Buzzy? But then even Buzzy has like 9 assists, so Buzzy's rich too, like relatively.
Well, I mean, if I was to say that, I'd be here all day and just saying about people's items. I wouldn't get very far into the cast. I'd be talking about items of Tempest, who's going to be full build first, because as of right now, the Assassin Kusei.
Oh my God. So much damage, but Kusei might have bitten off more than he can chew. Okay, this is a little bit of happy gaming coming out from him. The second time he's dying, just trying to do solo queue plays. He's definitely having a solo queue game and dominating very hard in it, at least.
Yeah. Good reactions from Blank there to actually avoid the extra damage coming up from Jace jumping in. And that does get them a shutdown. They're able to take that top tower with that Herald, so they get the shutdown bounty. And they're trying to pressure for a second tier. This could be a good chunk of gold going back towards them.
Yeah, I mean, they could kind of continue this push. There isn't anybody to stop them, so that's just another bounty claimed and nice bits of gold coming out to Blank. This is kind of a bit of a beginnings of a potential comeback. Of course, it's super far away. It's still miles they have to fight through, but it is something.
It is something. That's the best way to put it, because, I mean, some of the mistakes from Tempest are just, like you said, very like solo queue mistakes. Soon as they switch on and group as 5, I don't know Arcadia's way of slowing them down at that point. But as of right now, Tempest are still opting towards that 1-3-1. You can still look to get these picks in the side lanes for Arcadia. just seeing if you can pick off Kusei, seeing if you can pick off Bear Tree. Eventually, you will need some anti-healing for the Sylas as well.
This is absolutely true. And I mean, at least for the side of Arcadia, there are some nice objective bounties they can look for. Of course, Scream has a 500 gold, no, 400 gold objective bounty. And Losi, just by not dying and being super solid this game, has a 300 gold bounty on him. So some objectives maybe for Arcadia to take down.
And Jace absolutely melting towers with his lethality and Seraldas. He is an absolute monster, half hitting from one shock blast.
Oh, that hurts my soul just to watch something like that. Like, how do you even play against him? Like, I guess you just have to always be able to dodge his like skill shots, but that's just unfeasible.
Yeah, from no vision, it's very difficult to do anything against that. And exactly like that.
Ugh, Blank is already so low as this fight begins. And like Scream is still just kind of healthy. They're chilling and relaxing. Blank at least has a bit of room here, but it's not enough room. Scream goes in for the auto, gets a double kill. Scream is absolutely insane right now, and Bear Tree chasing into Monge. I have a feeling that Sylas is somehow much quicker. Okay, doesn't get that one there, but gets a nice slow. So in the end, it is going to be an ace for the side of Tempest Gaming. They're absolutely playing flawlessly, except for the solo queue mistakes, of course.
You gotta drop the solo queue mistakes in there. But they
Yeah.
will be able to take Baron off this now. Pretty uncontested. Even if members of Arcadia come here, it's not really one you're going to walk into. You're completely blind other than that one ward in the river. Tempest Gaming kind of running away with things still.
I mean, yeah, it's like 13k gold lead. I mean, they got so much pockets. Like, look at their items. 3 items completed for the 80k. 3 items remit. 4 items even. Wait, okay, no, he decided to sell that item or something like that. Like, it's just kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and look at Draven right now. Bloodthirster, Trinity Force, Collector. 12.4k gold earned. Adoration, obviously a big factor in that. Kusai, 13.4, I think it was, gold
Yeah.
earned. The man
Against
is absolutely
6K.
massive.
Yeah, he is doubling the income of Brixton right now. And, like, my god, what an absolutely insane performance coming out from him.
Yeah, he wanted to dominate. You could tell Tempest are here to send a message in this game. They're not here to play nice. They're here to play aggressive, in your face, and just very high tempo gameplay. And they're still pushing that pressure into each side lane when they can.
I mean, it's gonna suck a bit for Arcadia, right? Because of course they didn't expect to win this game, but they had that nice momentum going on where they were kind of having some nice victories, and it's gotta suck a bit to like have to like, you know, slow down once again. But this loss, I don't feel like they should feel bad about. Still, Tempest being the best in the league, like, you know, I think Arcadia should take the good of what they can out of this game.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like putting Gam against LDG or Gen G. You're not expecting them to win, but if you can make some things happen, you're going to be happy about it. And
This fight is beginning. It is some nice bit of damage coming out from the side of Shada, but Shada is completely alone and with absolutely not a single shred of follow-up. So that's just going to be Tempest starting to march in here into this base. They are probably done with this game. Scream just holding up the 2 Executioner's Axe is absolutely going wild on Monge and Brixton. Look how much damage he deals. Oh, wait a second. Oh, okay, the stopwatch comes out just to stop a little bit of Scream dying. They get the shutdown. That's really nice, but in the end, I'm not sure. Is this going to be enough? Maybe it is. Wait a second. I might have spoken too soon. Blank and Galaxy are alive. They are together as the duo, trying to defend this base as much as they can. The Nexus Tower still holds at the moment, but at the cost of everything else. They're based in shambles, but they at least live for another couple minutes. At least.
they live to see another day for the moment. That's the best way you can say it, because
Yeah.
they're chasing Kusai, trying to delay his back timer, but won't really be able to kill him.
Oh,
I
wait,
don't
he's
think.
going in. Shada wants to kill on Kusei. He feels confident. Damage coming out. They both trade each other, killing each other at exactly the same time. Shutdown. Blank! Oh my god, Blank gets the kill on Dunlosi!
That is a big
That's another
shutdown
shutdown.
going on to Blank. Yeah. Getting them long death timers as well. Kusei still dead for 30 seconds. Dunlosi dead for 30 seconds. I feel
You know,
a little
despite
bit bad
all that
for
comeback... Sorry, I'm so sorry. Despite all that comeback victory, they're now 14k behind. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, they got so much money. How much? Like, oh, it's maybe only 8k behind, right? Nope, still 14k.
Yeah, it's still gargantuan, the difference between the gold. I was going to say, I do still feel a bit sorry for Dunlosi, because when they were trying to end the game, Dunlosi was the only one hitting towers to try and get out of the game. He's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to go have my food, have my dinner, you know. And the rest of the team were like, no, but we want kills.
Oh man, yeah. It's always nice to see a bit of ego on display, but sometimes the ego, if uncalculated, can result to a loss. They want to just try to go for a base race here. I mean, they have the damage. My god, look at Kusei. This Nexus is literally toilet paper to him, but he is going down. He is shut down. Bear Tree, I don't think he can end this game, and that means that Arcadia, they just get 2 kills like that, and now 3 members dead from Tempest. Dragon is up, but Scream is starting it up. What's going on here?
Tempest are just having fun. They're going a little bit monkey mode in this game. Just try to pull out some strats, try to get that little base rush off. But do not get it off, they actually end up getting picked off. But the gold lead, like you said, it's still not really shifted that much. It's still some gold in the pocket of Arcadia. And to note, the gold has been going towards Blank, which this is the comp for Blank. This is a comp where you want to play for the Xayah, so it's not the worst thing, but you need to do your very best to keep Zara alive from the multi-threat comp what Tempest have.
Yes, this is true. I mean, Baron will be up in 40-something seconds. Arcadia's like base is still in absolute shambles, so it feels like from the side of Arcadia, knowing that the base race could happen, that the backdoors could happen, they're just gonna have such a hard time competing against this Baron.
Yeah, they might just actually give the Baron, to be honest, because walking into that is a bit of a death trap, especially with Malkyle, Jay's Shock Blast being able to slow you with the Surrounders. It is one way you just want to just sit back, keep farming these minions as you can, just getting whatever gold you can before the final fight in the base.
Oh my god, if there even is a fight, just look at that base. It is so low. I mean, you could kind of almost like picture a scenario where Tempest Gaming just like S5 march down just to try to end that that Nexus. But of course, you know, being a good team, they're not going to do that. You know, they're not going to listen to my bad macros. They're going to instead start up this Baron, and with Arcadia not even being close to ready to try to compete against this, that seems like Tempest just gets another Baron.
Yeah, it's just a simple objective. It's completely theirs. It's going to be uncontested. There's no reason not to take it. And they're going to able to be pushing that pressure into top lane. Mid lane will naturally push, but Kusei will escort that in.
And just like that, we are back to Arcadia. You know, 13k gold behind, but hey, that's a bit better than 14k, am I right? So, you know, maybe the comeback potential has just started, but no, of course, like, it's still going to be super dire. This Baron push is going to be absolutely brutal. I mean, because they don't even have turrets to defend their Nexus anymore.
And Jace is full build, by the way. He
Oh
is
my God,
going to be
already?
terrifying.
No, and Shada is just there alone. That nice ultimate coming out from Dunlosi, ensuring that there can be absolutely no follow-up to Shada's engage. And now look, Arcadia are only 4 members, but they're all so low. They're going to have to back off, but do they even have time to back off? That's the question. I don't think they have time anymore. They need to put a stop right now to Tempest Gaming, because they are now absolutely bashing your base, and Tempest Gaming playing with their food, playing with power, and playing with the entire UKEL by saying this game is ours. This game was just an absolute message and a statement. Do not mess with us anymore.
And I couldn't have put it any better myself. Tempest Gaming were about sending a message that game, even though despite the solo queue deaths, they were having fun. Like, this is about getting them back on track and saying, yeah, we lost one. Does it matter? No, not really.
Not really at all. They still look like the absolute most dominant team in this league. It always never ceases to amaze me just how dominant they play. And it really makes you ask the question, is there any team that can like defeat Tempest Gaming once they, when they are drafting and when they are like on their full main lineup? I don't know. We're going to have to see. So far, it's looking like a no.
Yeah, we fought DMG at some point when they was on their win streak, but then that situation instantly got shut down by Tempest, and they said absolutely not. They're not in the question, and Tempest still looking like the most dangerous team in this league.
Yes, and we still have some matches left to go, so everybody don't go anywhere. I think, if I'm correct, the next one will be Verzik versus Lions Creed, so we'll be back after a bit of a break. But at least for us casting Rail, it was a pleasure casting with you. Our next casters will be here, and I'm sure they'll do a great job.
Funny ways, man. I promise you ain't really getting paid. Yeah, show a couple bands flexing on the Instagram, and nobody getting fans that way. Yeah, when you're really dumb if you're spending all your funds on some clothes and your tape need work. Yeah, you ain't gonna stand if you ain't a businessman, man. I promise you the plan ain't gonna work. Yeah.
Welcome back once again. We are here for some more UKEL, and obviously you can see the cast has changed a little bit, right? Brackish has gone, the desk has gone. It is me, your boy J Real, and I'm here with Black Bloxer and Zika. Although I do have Brack's name tag because you know what? Rep the boy, shout out to him, keep him with us. But either way, going into this one, obviously we just came off of the back of Arcadia versus Tempest, and what a storm that was. It is not one to be out there without your coats on, because it's just a little bit rough, right? We saw that they came through last week. They looked a bit shaky. They decided to switch things up. We had top lane in the bot lane, vice versa. They said, no more of this. We're going to go back to our undefeated ways. We're going to pick up the win. So, with that being said, I hope you guys are both feeling pretty good about that one. Hope you're all feeling dubs, because I want to get you a breakdown of what we just witnessed.
Chaos.
Yep. It should have been so clean. It should have been so clean. That early game.
Yeah.
That was Tempest playing at their best. And then, they got quite far ahead, nearly 10k, and just had some fun with it, let's say. Tempest had a little bit of fun with it, but not to discredit what Arcadia did, because there are a couple of plays where Arcadia really looked like they might be able to get their way back into it, and if they'd have pulled that out a little bit earlier, perhaps, it could have been a really competitive game all the way through.
Yeah, it's tough, right? I think the Tempest have looked like the best team in the league for quite a bit now. Yes, you could say, well, Belfast did take a game off them, J-Real. But then there are also other factors that you need to kind of put in there with that. They are looking very strong. They aren't giving too much away. And as we saw in the early game, they were very willing to get onto their form, get into pace. And then once they had that lead, it was really hard to take that away from them, right? We saw the numbers, we saw the gold. It was all a little bit much. But let's talk about some of their players, because we have a few stats for them. So let's kick it off in the top lane. Let's start with Bear Tree, who had a pretty good game. Zika, talk to me about this player.
So, the KDA doesn't really do it justice, right? 2, 3, and 10 on a Sylas. You're thinking, what went on? Why is this Sylas not popping off? But Bear Tree knows his role. His role isn't to necessarily have a pop-off game every game. And if you look back at some of those fights, you'll see that Bear Tree was a big reason they went so well. Especially right at the end, a massive stolen Gnar onto 2, including Blank, who was Arcadia's shining hope in that game. As well as a couple of good quicknesses throughout the game. It definitely showed Bear Tree's willingness to take a backseat, be more of this, I'll be a facilitator, Sylas. I'm fine with that. I ain't got nothing against doing that. And it really, really worked out for how Tempest wanted to play the game.
It did indeed. And I think, look, Sylas into Gnar, a tale as old as time. Not one of the top anti-matchups, but it's definitely a strong one for Sylas to go into, right? You get pretty good scaling on the ultimate. You can basically use the ultimate whenever you want. Gnar has to obviously get to Mega. It's just a good time. He played it well. He was able to just make things work. But let's go into the mid lane. Let's go to Kusai. Let's get his stats going as well, because I feel like the solo laners were able just to carry what they wanted to do. Black Bloxer, talk to me about this Jace pick, though.
Yeah, the Jace was absolutely popping off. The Annie out of Brixton just never got going, and it was through constant poke out of the Jace. Kusai was landing all of those accelerated shock blasts so well, and it just made it impossible, pretty much, for anybody to actually play from Arcadia. We got into these big team fights, and the point at which, Arcadia were beginning to come back into the game, but every single time there were 2, 3 different accelerated shot blasts landing during the setup of a fight around the Drake, around the Baron, or just in the mid lane, and you were arriving to this fight for Arcadia on half health, sometimes even less, on your main carries, or on everybody. It just meant that there was no way for Arcadia to actually step up into these fights in equal matchups. They were constantly being poked down, and it's exactly what you want from the Jace. He's such a strong champion at the moment, and Kusai really showed how to play it both in lane and around the team fights.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at the bot lane just shortly. Zika, have a quick one about this, but we do have to be moving pretty swiftly as the next game is going to be ready soon. So head-to-head of the bot lane, this is what happened.
Yeah, so apologies for Scream stats being a little bit borked here, but I can still talk very briefly. Again, Blank, the shining light of hope for Arcadia in this game. 7-4-4 on this Xayah. We talked a little bit about Blank last week on Thursday. Did play this Xayah, had a decent showing, still struggled a little bit, but overall a very strong performance in general. And Scream finding a lot of good whirling deaths in the early game to find the lead in over this lane opponent. But even with that in mind, Galaxy and Blank didn't fall more than maybe 20 CS behind, which into a Draven lane and Xayah is definitely something to be proud of. Because yes, while you have a very heavy pressure lane, the Janna completely counters your support. So you're nice in a 1v1 situation, because that's essentially what this lane is going to be. They're going to be too busy stopping each other from playing the fights.
Yeah, indeed. And tough lane, tough game. At the end of the day, it's always going to be a rough one. Tempest stamping their authority and showing why they are the top team in the league right now. Arcadia still showing that they are growing and could still have themselves a place in that playoffs, but we'll have to see what they can make happen in the next couple of game days. But with that being said, let's get on to the next game. It is going to be Verzik taking on Lions Creed, and you know what it is. J-Real is on stream. Lions Creed are playing, need I say less. But let's get a quick look at Verzik before we get into potentially the team that just seems to go well with me. But Zika, talk to me about Verzik's esports.
And Verzik, Lars, Goldie, Hollow, Gino, Jolly Boy had very good showings, but a very temperamental team. However, we have seen that Lars isn't the only carry on this roster now. Gino had a massive performance on Thursday on the Ezreal. I don't remember off the top of my head if they won the game, but it was a strong showing regardless from Gino. That small critter in the bot lane proved to be quite a large beast if left unchecked with something like the Ezreal. So the question is, can they get the trifecta? Can Hollow be this big carry for them as well, or are we looking at Lars and Gino? And if so, how do they match up into the Lions Creed player?
Indeed. And talk about the Lions Creed player, let's get to know that team as well. Bloxer, you're going to get the luck of going through this team that seems to win when I'm on stream.
Yeah, Cormac, Choi, Bent, Kumakum, and Heathen have been playing really good League of Legends recently, and it just hasn't quite been pulling together. Like you said, whenever you're around on stream, they seem to win, and even when you haven't been around, actually, Lions Creed showed some pretty good performances, took Ruddy quite far recently, have had some great early games. It's once you get into these mid to late games where things just begin to fall apart for this team. But if they can continue building on some strong weeks recently, I think this team could begin to, if not make their way towards that playoff spot, at least play spoiler to some of these top teams. And right now, they could really play spoiler because Verzik need a win.
Indeed they do, and to add flavour to this nice dinner on your Monday night, the last time these two met, Lions Creed won, which was their only win for a long time. But we're going to get into draft to see what the teams do decide to pick. We are going to have to ask the same question, though. We are going to have to talk about who is going to win, right? I'm obviously back in Lions Creed. I think no one is surprised by this one. But Bloxer, kick me off with your prediction. Where are you seeing this game going?
I could see Lions Creed picking up this win right now. Verzik, they have a couple of carries, like we said. As long as they ban Fiora, I think they're going to be all right.
Ooh, okay. Zika, are you feeling the Lions Creed vibes as well, or are you maybe gonna be a little bit on the other side, the Verzik side, the loser side?
I'm gonna play the Agent of Chaos today.
Okay.
I think, consistently speaking, Verzik have just been a better team all split long, and even with the good luck charm here on the desk in yourself, Jay, I don't know if Lions Creed are going to be able to pull everything together quick enough to be able to take down Verzik, even with that Fioragon, even with maybe even the Ezreal taken away. I mean, we can see here Hollow's Orianna, one of these
Please ban it.
player has been taken away already.
Please ban it.
My question stands.
Please ban it.
Lions Creed, can you pull out what you showed us last week, or is it just going to be a ban Darius for Cormac angle and win the game that way?
Yeah, they have banned the Ziggs, which I really do like, because I will say I think the Lions Creed have been a little bit more on the pulse of the patch. They've been able to play these kind of newer meta things that have worked out really well, and because of that they've been able to glean quite a bit of an advantage in quite good game states. But this time round,
first pick,
no Ziggs, no Jinx, and Fiora not banned.
They're actually going to let you...
And it's a good champion to play it into as well. Now, I do want to just focus in on this Ziggs a little bit here. And this is something that we saw Kumakum play last week. And it's something that we know Kumakum to have played a lot throughout his career. And I think it's a very good ban, given the fact that Ziggs is one of the highest win rate AD carries. And that sounds wild to say, but he is one of the highest win rate AD carries on current patch. Because a lot of the meta AD carries can't stand up to the poke that a poke mage like Ziggs can come out with. And even past that lane phase, you turn into this really insane burst mage that can just melt through a tower, so your siege becomes infinitely stronger as well. It's a very terrifying situation to find yourself in, but I've just realized that Gino Xayah has been left open, and that's been banned nearly every single time Verzik have played.
Ooh.
Okay.
Power picks are being locked in. And was it? Wait a second.
Yep,
no
that's an
way.
lock. Okay.
Bent. I've just remembered.
Bent on the Fury.
Yeah, Bent's Neferi
He's
has
actually
been banned ever since
Yeah.
he subbed in for Craney.
He's actually picked up this champion, which we haven't seen a lot of the standard picks go towards it. Neferi locking in right here, so you're really leaning into using that AP on that Talia in the jungle. At least you have that AP there. With the Jhin as well, this is a composition that kind of wants to poke you from long range and then go all in all of a sudden. So, you know, there's a little bit of an identity coming through for Lions Creed. Risky though, especially risky because they left it open and Verzik didn't pick it up in the first set of picks, but they have it right here. Lars on Fiora, if he picks it, he wins. Let's see if he can do it again.
But I'm interested about this though, because like, look, all right, we talked about power picks, we talked about the Fiora for Lars, we talked about Gino with Desire, we've now got the Neferi for Ben, which is a pick that I feel like is probably the most scary because you haven't really played the Doge. Like, this could be an absolute mockery, but also we have now the option for Cormac to get a counter onto Fiora, right? So there are potential picks that could be played that could test this champion's limits. Obviously, playing into a one trick or a very, very high played champion for someone is always going to be beneficial for the person that plays it a lot. As we're now seeing a few hovers. Cassiopeia, they're going to be locked in for Hollow though, as now Lions Creed starting to cycle through some of their options.
The thing is, this is an ego diff if Lions Creed lose right here. If they lose to this Fiora, you knew it was coming, and you were like, no, I'm good. Cormac is like, I'm good enough to beat it. If he gets smacked around in lane, then that is just an ego diff for Lions Creed. It's such a big risk to do that. Either way, though, the Cassiopeia being locked in, it gives you a lot of priority in the mid lane. You can poke people out very easily, and your objective take is really quick, which can help when you've got a Fiora split pushing on the side. Will be that Aatrox locked in against it. That's a pretty big skill matchup, although it can go quite well for the Aatrox. And we'll see what this final lock-in will be for Verzik. They'd still need themselves a jungler probably, unless you put the Rel there.
Okay.
With the Sejuani, that's a just well-rounded composition out of Verzik.
Yeah, I don't dislike the Sejuani. I was really liking the look of Zac. I won't lie. I've personally been playing it a lot of it. I think it's a really strong pick. Obviously, the Sejuani does pair up really nicely with the Fiora, and if their aim is to get Lars ahead, then it has done a treat. I will say this match up top is going to be quite interesting. I'm expecting quite a little bit of jungle attention up there because both Aatrox, both Fiora, they like to fight, and the winner of that will have the best night. But we will see how they do play this one because in the bot lane, there is still that potential as well, right? We talked about Gino on Xayah. We've also got the Jhin coming in who can be a little bit sleeper and then just one-shot you.
Yeah, I'm not sold on these drafts, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I'm a little concerned for a number of reasons. One, we've seen Lars play into the Aatrox before, right? And it went relatively well for them. Enough said. But not taking Rakan on 4 for Verzik feels really weird. Combined with the fact you've got Sejuani, Fiora, Rel, who really, really want to play going forwards. And then you've got Cassiopeia, Xayah, who want to play kiting away. And on the flip side, very similarly, you've got Aatrox, Neferi, and Rakan, who want to play forwards. And Jhin and Talia, who want to play going back. In terms of identity, this feels very...
mixed.
Yeah, it feels as though neither team really knows what they want to do, so they're going to try and do multiple things. And I'm curious to see if that works out. On the bright side, you do have Xayah into Neferi. So even if Neferi says, you're my target, you can go up, you can send the feathers flying, you can go up in the air and completely dodge that initial dash to then get a full pullback through this, kill probably all of the dogs, chunk Neferi's health bar down to smithereens, and still be able to play the fight. But that's the only person who's coming forwards onto you. So you're not going to be able to get feathers set up for anybody else. And on the flip side, Talia trying to find a catch when you're playing forwards is really hard, because all it takes is them being on the very edge of the seismic shove, taking that little back step, and suddenly that entire fight is gone. So I'm very interested to see how these drafts actually play out, when in terms of identity, they mismatch each other so much.
I think for me it depends a lot on how they decide to line up, right? If they go for the 1-3-1s, if they go for the 1-4, which is what I am expecting from Verzik, right? I'm expecting them to play a 1-4 situation where you put Lars in the side lane, you have your Rel, you have your Sejuani, Cass and Zai. Yes, better when they play away from you, but can chase people down if given a little bit of CC. And also there is the world where, you know what, the Sejuani and the Rel could just play a little bit more bodyguard-esque. They don't necessarily have to dive in. They could potentially play a little bit backwards. And then I think the same for Lions Creed as well, where Talia could play forward or backwards, and Jin can set up from such long range with the curtain call too. So maybe it will work out all right for them. I'm just very interested in how this early game goes, because I really want to know from you, Bloxer, where are you expecting the junglers to pay the most of their attention?
When you regularly look at these kind of compositions, I'd be like, probably towards the mid and the bot lane, you know? Cassiopeia, you can set that up pretty easily with the Miasma, especially once you get level 6 and that Petrifying Gaze. And in bot lane situations, anytime you've got a Xayah or a Jhin, although you can just leave those lanes around, it can get volatile occasionally, so you don't mind going down there. But not in this situation. Absolutely not in this situation. You want to be going towards the top lane. And just giving up that Fiora makes me wonder what Lions Creed are doing.
Yeah, cooking, but maybe not a great meal.
I'm going to be honest, my concern with this bot lane is if you do just leave it plateauing, you're going to get to a point where, and I've experienced this recently, it's not fun, you're going to get to a point where this Jhin is going to exist in the general space of anybody on the side of Verzik, auto you twice, going to flop to the floor dead.
Yeah.
You're kind of going to implode. Jhin is in one of these positions where he is a one-shot AD carry without building lethality. Always has been and will continue to be based on how the kit is made. So having relatively squishy, short-range damage dealers in Xayah, Cassiopeia. Sure, Cassiopeia can build a lot of health, but without the resistances to back it up, Jin's just having a field day.
Okay, well, it's a lot of chat. It's a lot of potential. The teams are up. The stage is set. Let's get into game number 3. Versus Lions Creed. I'm going to hand this on over to Temporal and Milky Cereal.
They say that good things come to those who wait, and we've had a nice wait to get into this game. We've also had a nice wait, about a year and a bit, to cast together LAN, and we're going in Lions Creed Academy against Verzik.
If you are not on Twitter, you may have not noticed that Milky has come to pay me a visit, and this Monday evening we have a cast together. Not quite a duo bedroom cast, but you know, almost.
Don't worry, once I leave, I will jungle tax your cannon minion on the way out.
Talking of cannon minions and big threats in the wave, Lions Creed have picked some interesting champions, and they're up against Lars' finest in Fiora. This is about as Verzik a team comp as we can get. So Bent and Cormac, particularly on these stand-up carries, are going to have to show something a little different, manage that front line effectively with Talia. We're going to be in for a little bit of a team fight banger, and I think these Dragons and Heralds are really going to slap.
I'm really excited to see how this top lane is going to pan out. Specifically the Aatrox against the Fiora, it's so spicy, and if you can give a kill to either of them, they can really snowball that lead. But on a side note, I think I know what Lions Creed are trying to do. They knew that J-Real was on the broadcast, so they're limit testing. They're seeing how ridiculous can we drop. We're going to let Lars get his Fiora, we're going to pick Neferi, which no one has ever seen in competitive, and if we can win, we know that the J-Real buff is true.
It's true, it's real, and it's just so big. Like, it'll just be like, next week, just melee mid, why not? Just crazy stuff. And you know, as long as Jay is there, it'll just work out just fine.
I think they might have to start paying J-Real to open up his schedule for more broadcasts. But we do need to see whether this game does pan out. The other thing that's kind of interested me as well is that Jhin being picked up. But I am now looking towards the junglers, both of them on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, it's all about top. Both of them probably want to full clear, or at least the Sejuani. You want to manage your way into the crab and just keep the farm going, keep the tempo going, not drop it too early. So we see Goldie just exiting his top, so going a little bit faster than Choi. Not too unexpected when you have to cast those spells, get it at least level 2 under your belt, get that speed going. Or Sejuani can just put people on ice nice and quick. I am interested in the mid lane in this game particularly. The only competitive we've seen out of the Fury so far, I think, is a little bit of Prime League where she was enabled, and a little bit of ERL playoffs just before we ended summer. Cormac here, going to be the victim of Goldie.
And Goldie has worked his way over to the top side very quickly, flashes forward with the Arctic Assault, the Permafrost. Locked down is Cormac, and it's a free kill for Lars.
It drops all of his upper camps. Goldie will go back in there to find Choi, trying to get something back, trying to get away. And this top lane that we highlighted, it was such a volatile, such an exciting matchup, has started off with an absolute disaster for Cormac. All summon is gone. He's back on the wave, so at least Lars won't be able to get that in here. But Verzik are very happy with the way this game has started.
I don't think the camera feed is very happy with the game momentarily, as we do have a little bit of tech issues. Hopefully, well, it does seem that has resolved itself, but it's going to be so difficult now for Cormac. He doesn't have a flash available, and Lars does, although Cormac winning out that trade for now.
Yeah, I love this. Lars still holds his teleport. Anything he gets on Cormac here sticks. Anything Cormac swings back. A bit of a waste if Lars is able to exit the lane safely. Jolly Boy will push forwards here. Jhin Rakan, a bit of an odd pairing that spike really hard but have low consistent damage. Will be fine going into the tower. They won't have the firepower of Xayah in lane right now. As top is another Fiesta.
Choi is making his way up, but Cormac is already down. And what can Choi do? Flash forward from Lars. He doesn't want 2 kills. He wants the 3rd kill. The Permafrost is stacking, and Lars just needs 1 more. But Choi able to flash his way out to safety. 2-0 now for Lars on the Fiora.
Lions Creed are bleeding in this top lane. That is all summoners gone from their top 2v2. All of their tempo on the map largely lost. If they get out of this into a dragon, this will be an incredible recovery, as Lars hasn't even recalled. He's got the wave in after that first kill into the second team fight. The 2v2 looking great for Verzik right now on this top side.
Well, 30 CS, 2 kills, including a first blood. That's what, 1.2k gold or something? Vampiric Scepter picked up 2 long swords. So much damage in the trades.
My god. And even the gold from the takedowns holding Goldie up here. Jolly Boy should be able to just crash down if he feels. We'll manage Rakan coming forwards.
They're going to turn on to the Xayah, who flashes but still gets knocked up by the Grand Entrance, and Kumakum throwing out so much damage with those Jhin bullets.
Yeah, that's one of the spikes. You know, if they're able to just hold and say, you know, oh, cheeky trade, you know, we'll take a 4th shot and a bit of a grenade. As Hollow will just push Choi out here. Shouldn't go down.
Nice seismic shove. Goldie, though, is here. There's no flash on that Tilia anymore, and it's free picking for Hollow.
I don't know why he hugged the wall. Maybe I misjudged the distance slightly. Really thought he could have just tried to just trigger the passive and not stick the wall, which makes you an easy target, you know, if you can only go left instead of left or right. Much harder to hit the target. Goldie will start this dragon up with his bot lane coming in and a huge wave. You have a very easy time on that objective. As you know, if you're Verzik here, you've taken the lead in the early game and you don't let go.
Oh, Lars is really feeling himself, just running towards Cormac, who thought he had the safety of a minion wave around him, and Lars says, I couldn't care less about your minion wave, mate.
just says, no, here we fight champions. Those minions, they're just little guys.
Just little guys, and when you have a Vampiric Scepter, you do not care one bit. Choi is making his way over down bot, lands a nice seismic shove. Jolly Boy trying to turn this around, but this is a 2v3. Choi throwing out the rocks. Jolly Boy flashes over the Drake pit wall, and Goldie has already secured that first Drake of the game.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Jolly Boy, it's a bit of rough timing, you know, he's only just walked back to the base. There's Lars in this top side having an absolute fiesta. This is the danger of the Aatrox Fiora lane. Unless the Aatrox gets meaningful 2v2s and can hold down the Fiora, the burden of execution, it's so much harder to hit those sweet spots than it is just to run at your opponent's vitals.
And now the question is for Lions Creed, what do you do? There are a few positives for Lions Creed because Goldie has invested so much time towards that top side. Choi has a slight CS lead. I say a slight CS lead. It's 20 CS. Bent also with a nice CS lead in the mid lane as well.
I really wouldn't expect that from what I think of the Nefiri matchup. I know the Q is like nice and easy farm, but a really good time of it. Maybe Hollow dropping a wave there for the dragon as well. Also the risk is Jolly Boy back out. Choi, this is a bit of a rough time.
Choi needs to run, but he's running right in towards the snake, and snakes are very scary. Jolly Boy following up, dives in, lands a knock-up. In comes Goldie as well. There's nowhere for the poor Talia to go, and Hollow gets his first kill of the game.
Yeah, it looks like Lions Creed are slightly missing a larger game plan. You know, if they were pathing to the Herald here, Choi's only got enough time to do his own jungle. I don't know about Goldie's. It's nice to take away from the Sejuani, but if all you're offering is a bit of a camp reset while more takedowns are going down on the map, it's not really worth the difference.
And I wonder if that's just the pressure getting to Choi, knowing that, right, I have a CS lead over Sejuani, I need to just kind of extend it more and more as Lars is really feeling himself against Cormac, shoves him in under tower down to half health. I was wondering if he'd go for a tower dive as well.
So clean on the Fiora. His ultimate just coming up, so that would probably make the difference there. Choi, is it, like, you've not done a camp since you've died, buddy. Your red buff is up. We were completely off tempo now, and it's going to diminish his own CS lead. You know, it's down to 10 already. His entire jungle is up. And now he can't really be out on the map, else he's going to sacrifice his own camp's respawn time. As Cormac absolutely stuffed in this lane, under his tower. It's a difficult position for Lionscreed. And all in here in the 2v2 with Bent and Choi, you know, if they do pick out Hollow, they do have the damage, but they're starting to suffer with the position on the map.
And I'm really scared for Cormac here, because this Rift Herald's going to be secured. You look at Jolly Boy, he's on the top side of the map.
No way.
And this is going to be a dive topside in a second, and there's nothing to support Cormac.
See Verzik. See that's some Lionscreed gameplay.
Oh, okay, right.
We just rush and maybe a little bit unorchestrated. Verzik are going to hold that likely for this Cloud Dragon because we want to see a 25-minute Elder, we want to see a 30-minute Elder, something completely ludicrous, something fast here. Because Verzik are coming into this bottom lane, Choi has hit 6, hasn't walled off the minion wave and will run into Goldie and Hollow.
Heathen was hovering around and then he sees two people. He's like, I'm sorry, I can't support you, my jungler. You're dead. Hollow gets another kill. And Hollow's loving this Talia. Just keeps on coming in and feeding him lovely, Talia rock girls for dinner.
It's, I don't know. Choi may be feeling the pressure, you know, maybe too much on his shoulders right now where he sees his top lane crumbling.
Oh, Kumakum landing.
He's thinking about it.
W, and then Small Critter says, "Oh, we're trading. Okay, let's trade."
Yeah, I can't help but think Berzik's bot lane probably not going to be around for so long with Small Critter, Geno's mana bar so short. This is going to be the name of the game in top right now.
Yeah, Lars is enjoying this. He lands the stun from the riposte, and Cormac forced to flash under the safety of his tower. Lars still has that flash available, although Choi is making his way up topside.
He's ran out from base at top speed again. He's still got camps up.
Weaver's wall comes out. Can Lars get over that wall? He's knocked up. Flash over the wall, and there is no seismic shove to pull the Fiora back into the fight.
Alright, Cormac's flash lost in the 1v1. They do get the trade back onto Lars's. He can probably farm this safely under his turret. If we look across the map right now, we see that the dragons come up in 43 seconds. This is sort of last stop for recalls. Both top laners will have TP. Both mid laners should be in a decent position in mid. This is going to be a chance for Lionscreed to take a bigger unit fight if they can try and get a pick in mid first. They should have just enough time to teleport Cormac in, get Choi in around the side, even though he doesn't have that Weaver's Wall. Try and break something before a straight fight comes through.
And that Rift Herald is going to be that kind of big advantage for Verzik, on top of the fact that they have this 3-0 Fiora, Ravenous Hydra completed, whereas Cormac just has the serrated Dirk. On the side of Lionscreed, though, you really have to look towards Bent. He's been able to get himself a nice CS lead over Hollow, who on the Cassiopeia is still far away from that big kind of powerful snake point.
Yeah, okay, Rift Herald will come down. That'll help with priority a little bit, you know, while Bent clears that wave incredibly quickly. They do actually have to kill the Rift Herald. Maybe like that summoned a little closer, but it has bought Verzik the time they need to start the objective. King's down onto this. There is a lot of long-range setup from Jhin and Talia here. Coming forward very respectfully, so they won't quite make it in time onto this Cloud Dragon as Verzik go to 2.
The 2 Drakes for Verzik. I was keeping an eye on Lars, and he was actually kind of sitting on that brush just behind the top outer tower, so I wondered what was going on there between himself and Cormac. Both of them, well, they didn't have flashes available to use, and they both appear to be relatively healthy.
Yeah, you know, the danger sort of in the top lane, the tension. And I kind of like what Cormac's doing. He's just out of range of the Vitals, so you do get to re-roll them and potentially get a more favorable one. That's the least favorable one. As Lars will have that facing towards him. It goes for a tower plate, and the Vital on the way out heals for as much as the tower shot. That is going to be so difficult to play with as this Hydra keeps stacking up.
And what do you do if you're Cormac here? You need to, what, get plated steel cap, some anti-heal, but you don't have any gold to really invest into those items.
Yeah, I kind of like this pattern of play. You got the riposte out before the dive, and Choi on the way will have a window to play in.
Teleport is coming through, and that's just going to dissuade Lion's Creed entirely. Hollow is making his way in, as on the bottom side, Goldie looking for a potential play towards Kumakum.
Yeah, a little bit of stabilization. Hollow's TP really sort of an overinvest, but you know, if you've got a good thing going, don't drop it. Mid lane will be fine, won't quite lose a plate of his own. Heathen here potentially looking for a play to try and get that plate off Choi. Once again lurking on top side. I feel like if he was matching bot, there'd be more potentially to gain.
This is going to be the engage for Lion's Creed towards Small Critter. Still has flash, heal, ult available, so Lion's Creed can't go for anything further. But the thing that really impressed me there for Verzik is the fact that not only did they answer the play topside, but they were also able to find a play bottom side. And usually you can only do one of the two, but somehow they did both.
Yeah, numbers with the jungler in bot, and then the summoner spell to calm the 2v2. Because is Lars really just one person at this point in time? Is he both swords that Fiora holds? Who knows? Who knows?
I'm also wondering how Bent has so much CS, 142 at 13 minutes. Does he think he's, what, the Chovy of the Four Nations?
We got old Chovy, we got old Froggen in the mid lane here. Yeah. And I think the low mana cost on that Q, he's holding range just well enough that like the Cassiopeia isn't finding ways in. I don't know if it's the way Hollow's playing it. We haven't really had an in-depth look. It is clear that the Neferi can still stay in cast range. Ooh. So while Hollow isn't directly attacked, he has that wave clear. They will go on Kumakum. He's still got his tower.
He's by himself though, and there are 4 members of Verzik here. There's a teleport coming in, but Kumakum's going to be dead by the time they arrive. There's a kill picked up by Hollow. They're looking though towards Lars in the mid lane, who's able to get out to safety. Doesn't have that flash available yet. But 1 kill for Verzik, and now they're looking for Ben, who almost dies, but able to pull one back onto Jolly Boy. 2 with the bleed of the Neferi.
Just that little bit extra there. Neferi all popping, a little extra damage, dropping Goldie low.
That first kill though wasn't actually from Ben because he's only 1-0, so I'm guessing Goldie died from tanking the tower and took a Jhin auto somewhere.
Maybe the other way. I think
Jolly Boy died first.
Jolly Boy took too many tower shots, but that's alright, that's okay. That's a little bit of overextension. It will get Lion's Creed, their first objective here. Choi so close to finishing that jungle item. Nice and fast. Only the 1 stack left. That will allow, you know, the buff sharing, which should allow this Neferi to go infinite in the lane, as they've been going pretty close so far already. Or indeed, a little extra around on the map.
And I wouldn't say this is game-changing for Lion's Creed, but it is a turn in the right direction, right? Verzik throw resources, it fails, and Lion's Creed can get the second Herald.
I think when you're in this sort of precarious position with side lanes, that extra blue or red buff can really go the extra way, especially if Bent down here, doing pretty well on this Neferi, 40 CS up, with kill to his name, he's going to try and go 2v1. I think anything that pins the Xayah down for a moment more, and a benefit for Assassin in the bottom lane.
But for Lion's Creed, it is resting on Bent's shoulders right now. He has to be the player to step up.
Yeah.
They are 2 kills down to 7, 2,500 gold down, and well, with Cormac really struggling on the top side, Choi is making his way up. Can they find a pick onto Lars? Flash available? Doesn't even need it.
Unfortunate timing there. It's like Choi was just steaming into lane as fast as possible, and when Lars came forward, it appears just at the edge of vision. And that unfortunate set, it means the dragon will be quite difficult now. 18 seconds, the Talia is on their way. Bent coming around the side here. Lion's Creed have to be a bit creative. They can't play this straight down the line, as they are lacking a TP from Cormac in the top lane.
I think Lion's Creed almost recognizing they can't win a straight up 5v5 or even a 4v4 fight, although that's a really nice seismic shove. They're looking for the kill onto Jolly Boy, who is able to get out to safety, but Lion's Creed are themselves on the back foot. Teleport coming through from Lars, and keep your eyes on Bent on the southern side of the fight. He's just going to look to shove in the bottom wave as the rest of Lion's Creed head towards the mid lane. Verzik get their third Drake.
I think going to Soul Point here is great for Verzik. If mid T1 can be traded, I think that's the best Lion's Creed could really ask for here. They are holding their own Herald in case this gets a little bit dicey. Should be able to exit cleanly. And a sort of difficult fight when Rakan loses his ultimate before Lions Creed don't really have an easy way to play through. They need Verzik to make a mistake. They need to come onto the pebbles. They need to get picked out by the Jhin. It's a little too much to ask when the lanes haven't gone as well as they would have liked.
On the plus side for Lions Creed, both teleports are now down for Verzik as well. Bent just getting engaged on by Lars. Able to survive.
Flash Q, it's enough.
Well, the tower goes. Bent still playing aggressively, really disrespecting Lars there, but Lars not going to go any further as now Choi is locked in. Magnet Storm comes through on top of the Miasma. No way out for Choi, who picks up his 4th death of the game.
Yeah, a little bit difficult and up in the position once again from Choi. It's a great way to play the Telia when you can hold your opponents at their range and they have to respect the pebbles. I don't think Verzik are too worried about that now. You know, the damage, the levels, it's not enough from the Telia to have that presence. And it's time for him to start, reconfiguring where he's standing, getting in behind the Rakan, getting in behind the counter engage.
I quite like the lane assignment from Verzik with Lars saying, look, I've dealt with Cormac. Follow, you have some free food in the top lane. I'll deal with this Neferi.
Yeah. Heading down once again. We'll meet up with Cormac this time, but you're right. It's a quick switch around after Benta nearly met his demise in that bottom lane, and we'll want to avoid the Fiora for now.
Run, Cormac, run. You can hear the Jaws music coming in. The vitals are being proc. Cormac, there's no way out. The heal comes in. There's a small shield from the Eclipse. Is it going to be enough over the wall? Last flashes to follow. Gets the kill and is now looking to Choi, who's able to ride the Weaver's Wall out to safety.
That is absolute peak Fiora gameplay. Unfortunately, Lars worked to hold his flash against Bent in the 1 versus 1. Uses it to match Cormac here and buy himself loads of time on this side lane. On the top side, it looks like Hollow has been found.
Grand entrance, they want to get more kills onto this Neferi, and that's exactly what they won't do because the igniting's done and he then gets the kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Choi again being caught out. Goldie flashing forward, but maybe flashing too far forward. Either way, a very tanky ball will not fall, and in the end, it is just the 1 kill on top side for Lions Creed in exchange for that death on Cormac.
Alright, the 2v2, the 2v2, the Tau versus Tau, rather, T2s in top and bot go down. That's a lot of isolated gold onto the already fed Lars. That will extend his lead. Mythic comes through, even more components. You get so much money for taking down one of these tier 2 towers in an isolated fashion. 325 each for Benton Heathen there, and they shared it.
Now, hear me out here, Temporal. This game has felt one-sided, Verzik dominating. Less than 1,000 goal lead for Verzik, though. Lions Creed can be quite happy with how this game has gone compared to how it probably looks.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult. I don't know, the Neferi is so great, but the resets that she sort of gets off single kills require like a bit of space. You can't unleash that until your target is fully gone. I think unless there are multiple angles in onto Hollow, who's so great at denying that dive, these later team fights are just going to get harder and harder.
And Choi has made his way up top side, but Lars just does not care. Going to pick up this tower as the tower slowly gets through the minion wave, and Cormac makes his way up. Lars is just absolutely monstrously strong on this Fiora right now.
Yeah, absolute titan. The Verzik sort of have a lot of time to play. I don't even think you need to force the Baron, that they do very quickly and they do very sort of stably with the Cassiopeia, the Rod of Ages. It's not more damage to the objective, but it is a lot of time bought, where your opponent can't attack you or has to invest more to take you down. Instead, they're just waiting for this Dragon Soul. They're going to invite Lions Creed to a more out in the open fight with less stakes, but more to drive home, as the Ocean Soul, freshly buffed, will offer incredible ways to get around Bent's assassination potential.
And with that Ocean Soul coming up, it's a big point for Verzik and indeed for Lions Creed, and I kind of want to set the stakes for this fight because this is such an important game for both teams. If Verzik can win this, they are just one win. Oh, actually, sorry, they're three-way tied for 4th place, which means that they get into that upper bracket. For Lions Creed, if they lose this, every single game is a must-win game, and they have to play against teams like Venom Crest to be able to ensure that they can make it not into playoffs, but out of relegation.
Yeah, 7th and 8th spot going down to the 2nd division. No doubt on both of these teams' minds. Berserk waiting nearby.
Eden a little bit caught out, locked down Magnet Storm, but able to dash out to safety. That's 2 ults now gone for the side of Berserk. Is this the window that Lions Creed Academy need? The teleport is coming through, the curtain call as well. They can't steal the Drake away. The Ocean Soul has been secured, but can Lions Creed win the fight? Out comes the Feather Storm. Bent is just being torn to shreds by the Zaya. Choi is in the middle of the pit with no way out, gets taken down. Berserk gets 2 kills. Forget about Lions Creed winning this. They can't even come out even. Berserk picking up 2 kills for nothing and make that a 3rd.
He then picked off just a little too late. Cormac's TP very delayed, very uncertain, very nervous, and it's clear to see why this game. Berserk have had Lions Creed number. They've put the pack in a difficult position as they move towards this Baron as they look to go coast to coast at 22 minutes.
Ocean Soul secured, and now the Baron as well. And just as I was saying that things were looking close for Lions Creed, and maybe not as dire as it was appearing, it is now definitely starting to look dire. Bent taking his first death of the game on this Neferi. Now, it's a new champion for me. It seems decent in a couple of the 1v1s, excluding Lars, but in the team fight, doesn't seem like Bent can find the angle to really put into effect that 60 CS lead that he currently has over Hollow.
Yeah, the control of Hollow and the difficulty of approaching these targets, you know. You're going to attack any AD carry, one that can just like disappear into the sky after you lock on. Not really the easiest. Without those angle of attacks, without that side lane to play through, this Neferi is starting to fall a little short. Right now, paired up with the Talia, looks like they're going to try and attack Lars one more time. There are 3 members of Lions Creed on the top side as they give their mid T1.
But when you think about the interaction between dogs and birds, dogs quite often like to chase birds. They very often catch the birds. Although Kumakum on this Jhin has been somewhat caught, forced to heal, forced to flash. Cormac showing up as well, but just being torn to shreds by the Cassiopeia poison. And now the turn from Berserk. Choi blown to smithereens. No way out for the Talia. Now the Heathen in a tricky spot. W's over the wall, but Lars wants to follow to the rest of his team. But I tell you what, Lars is probably looking at those 4 members of Lions Creed and saying, I can 1v4 that.
Yeah, he's approaching that sort of Fiora phase where it's like, who can stop this French lady? It's probably no one.
Not even the game devs.
Not even the developers can stop this absolute savagery. Right now, Berserk just pushing their waves in. They have sort of invited a little bit of a failsafe in that the Elder Dragon will likely spawn.
Lions Creed looking for the pick onto Jolly Boy, but you're targeting one of the tankiest members on Berserk, and it completely fails. Cormac ends up falling, and Berserk, not Venom Crest, continue the siege. Lars by himself has already taken the inhibitor tower in the top lane, and here come the cannon minions and the Baron minions in the mid lane.
Oh, there goes Choi. Alright, completely dead. The Hull Breaker just turning Lars into an absolute titan.
I think this very well might be a game for the side of Berserk. They're sieging on in, they're picking up kills, however, they please. The inhibitor falls in the mid lane. Will they take the top lane inhibitor? They don't need to. The damage onto the Nexus towers at 25 minutes is ludicrous. Members of Lions Creed are spawning, but they're just spawning so they can die once more. Lars with a beautiful riposte. Stun down is Cormac. It's a fantastic game for Berserk. 19 kills to 3 as they take the win 25 minutes in.
That was pretty clean. I think Berserk can be pretty happy. They've executed a very them composition. And it doesn't really get more archetypal than that.
Hello?
We have to get in here.
Is this how we do it?
Couldn't make us any wider, could you, production? We love you. We love you.
I feel like there's meant to be like a space over there, but it's just the camera's being shrunk.
This is our fault. You can only blame us for this. Just
definitely.
like we can, maybe blame Lions Creed for overextending.
Well, I'm just going to say, it says serial time, so it's definitely all about me. And but
the delicate mid 2v2 story of that game, I think the Fury Talia, very nuanced, clearly had some strong points. Not quite today, though.
Yeah.
Talking of nuance, it's time to make sure you're looking after yourself. Go put that dinner in the oven. I know you've been putting it off. And while it's in there, join us in a few minutes as the analyst desk. We'll break down this game and introduce Game 4 tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. People wanna talk that talk in reality. You have not seen me in action. You think the come up comes overnight. You ain't behind the scenes. Trust me, these things don't just happen. No shade to Gerald, but G's don't come easy when you tryna eat out producing and rapping. I read that contract you sent me to sign, but excuse me, I can't help myself, I'm just laughing. Hey, you tryna cut out a piece of my pie, and I asked you politely, what's it that you offer me? Yeah, I produce all my own beats, and I have no intention of losing my publisher. Yeah, independent individual, boy, I've been eating off passive residuals. Yeah, let's be professional. Thanks for your time, but I had to decline at that principle. I've been scheming up a plan. Hey, I've been saving up.
Well, you've heard of Harry Potter, but J-Real, you are not a wizard. Lions Creed, they couldn't do enough to pick up the win here, and I'm going to hand you over to Black Bloxer to tell you why.
So, you know, you heard when I was like, oh, I think Lions Creed are going to win. If. There was a big if in that statement, and the big if was if they banned Fiora. Lions Creed did not ban Fiora. We all witnessed what the Fiora just did. And we all, everyone, because we're all sensible people here, could have predicted what was going to happen, except apparently Lions Creed and Cormac. It's ego diff right there. Just deciding that, hey, I'll be fine. Every other top laner in the league has not been fine so far, and we can see it right here. 8-0-3 for Lars. Cormac doesn't get on the board, does less than half of the damage, gets Flame Horizon 2 on the CS, and I just...
Yeah. It's tough. It is tough, but it happens, right? It happens. And I think the Cormac had a really good showing last Thursday. Obviously, it's just a tough matchup, right? I don't even think Aatrox is majorly good into Fiora, to be honest. So that's a little bit tough in itself. But also playing against Fiora, playing against Lars' Fiora is just a risky situation. And I feel like Lions Creed, it's not all just based on that top side for me. I will say I think Goldie had pretty big impact in that lane as well. That early level 3 gank really shifting the weight of that lane into Fiora's hands, and then multiple ganks after that, just giving an even bigger lead, which was just never going to be able to be returned.
Yeah, I think Verzik knew they were on the clock. They had to make something happen before this Jhin and Neferi really came online, and they did a beautiful job of snowballing Lars and making sure, more importantly, making sure Choi could never play the game. Bloxer, I know you're like opening the Chamber of Secrets here with ban Fiora.
Yeah,
I don't think it would have mattered in this game.
No.
The entire map fell apart for Lions Creed. Verzik were winning left, right, and center. We look at Gino doing really well. We look at Hollow finally having a good game on this Cassiopeia. We look at Goldie absolutely railing through Choi. I mean, I think Choi was 0-7-0 at the end of that game, and I think we'll have the stats for that very shortly. Verzik just out-handsed at every point, and we can see it here. As I say, 0-7-0 for Choi on this Taliyah. Very similar situation. Did a metric crap ton of damage, excuse my French, but couldn't translate it. Couldn't really find anything else to do. And despite having so much damage, didn't even get an assist. Was 0-7-0 on this Taliyah. And that is a terrifying prospect when you're playing a jungler who is notorious for being able to snowball.
It is indeed. It is it's a tough one indeed, but the road is not closed just yet. I think there is potentially ways. Obviously, someone needs to do the maths. Someone needs to go get the foldy sheets, bring that one out and tell me if Lions Creed can make it through. I think there is a sliver of hope that they could make it through, but maybe it is all doomed. But what I will say is I do like the Lions Creed have still been turning up. They have still been trying to make plays. They are still trying to be proactive in these games. And I do think, okay, maybe a couple of things go left and right. Maybe things go differently, but on this day, it wasn't to be. It was going to be all Verzik, and that is going to put them back into that race for that 4th place. So we'll see how they end up after a couple more game days. But with that being said, that's going to be that game. We're moving on to the next one, which is probably my favorite game of the day. It is game on. It is Ruddy versus Venomcrest. And if you don't know why these two teams are so close, well, this is potentially a battle for second place. Let's bring up Ruddy. Let's see what they are made of. Let's meet the team. And it's time for Bloxer for you to talk me through these players.
Akaz, Crisis, Ketsu, Sin, and Jamsu. Ruddy have been looking really strong at times. This has been a really up and down team. They are, at the moment, our best challengers up against the absolute storm that is Tempest. And if somebody's going to be able to overtake that number one spot, it is potentially these guys. But that's not to say that they're absolutely running away with second place. They've had some brilliant performances and then some weirdly inconsistent ones. One of their few losses as well did come versus Venomcrest, so this team might be a little bit of a kryptonite for them, and it's going to be really interesting to see, because if they can step up and win this battle right here, Ruddy, then they are locking in that second spot for themselves and really showing that they are the second best in the league, but they need to keep it up in this game.
Yeah, the head-to-head is always important. Doesn't mean that you will win or lose based on the past, because obviously we've had a lot of patches, we've had a lot of time to practice with the teams, everything could have changed. But yes, Venomcrest definitely looking quite strong. Ruddy, though, I feel like very seasoned players. They've been here before, they've had the pressure, they know how to play, they all know each other very well as well. So I do think they have a high synergy and are looking very strong. They've started to win a few more games now, back to back to back, only recently losing to Tempest, that was 3 games ago. So they are making a little bit of a statement more recently. But can they take on Venomcrest, who are also a team that are on the up? Let's meet Venomcrest. And Chica, talk me through this team.
Venomcrest have been showing a lot of strength. You know about Holdy, Galul, KZ, Fastleg. Galul subbing in for Dandy in that mid lane, and it seems to be making all the difference. Galul very quick, very decisive with the decisions that are being made in all of their games so far, and proving to be an invaluable asset from what we can tell on the desk in their games. But I think there is a big factor we need to talk about for this Venomcrest roster. And it follows a very similar line to that which Verzik did. Whereas with Verzik, it's Fiora. Venomcrest, it's K'Sante.
It's disgusting.
K'Sante. KZ and Fastleg will be able to do their own thing regardless. But Eno seems to be the rock in so many of these games. So many.
You know what? If I know Ruddy, like I know Ruddy, I feel like there's a chance we get to see K'Sante in this game. And you know what? I'm also not sad about it, because I will say they are a team that does some funky stuff. They played Cassiopeia Twitch last time we saw them. They will have ways. They will have thoughts. They will have gameplay to go around that. And you know what? Akaz is pretty good, right? Akaz is pretty good. I feel like that's even a little bit of an understatement. So I do feel like Ruddy maybe not going to suffer the same fate if K'Sante does go through, especially on the fact that I don't think K'Sante is as oppressive when ahead as Fiora is, but maybe I'm wrong, right? I don't play ADC, so I don't have to deal with that. So, you know what I mean? I play tanks jungle, so it is what it is. But what I will say, though, is this is a matchup that I cannot wait to see. This is the game that will decide quite a lot in the league. It will decide basically who is second place, and I do think that if Ruddy don't pick up the win here, it could be very hard for them to claw that one back. But, Sheikah, you had something to say. Let me hear your thoughts.
I was just going to say K'Sante is terrifying when ahead. Please don't.
Yeah, this AD carry main is not happy about that statement.
Hey, you never know. I'm excited. I want to see what they're going to bring out, right? I think the Ruddy has looked very good as a core. I think they've had a couple of shapy games here and there, but I think as a general set of players, they do know how to win games. They do know how to get leads. They do know how to make plays, and I'm excited to see how that works. But Venomcrest have also been going strength to strength. Since Galul got added in the team, they have been picking up more wins. They are looking a lot more consistent and a lot more concise. And I'm just excited to see how this one goes. Are we expecting early game? Are we expecting late game? What's your kind of focus in the draft?
So, just very quickly, I have the last game draft in front of me.
Okay.
The last term these two teams faced each other. Venomcrest ran Camille, Talia, Vigar, Kai'Sa, Alistair into Ruddy's Olaf, Sejuani, Silas, Kog'Maw, Rell.
Yeah, that's a Ruddy comp right there.
Kog'Maw, Rell. Okay, throwback.
Sin is very known for the Twitch Kog'Maw.
It's later game scaling out of the bot lane for Ruddy, but in the mid jungle top, they're just looking to hands check you during the early stages of the game, especially top lane. Akaz is so good individually that you can give him something maybe like the K'Sante, because that's not just an Inno pick, it's a bit of a pick for both of these players, but whatever he picks up, he's just going to look to hands check you and win out in that individual lane, and he's done it so often that you can then play around this top side of the map and leave your bot lane as Ruddy to scale up and to get to the point where you get 2 to 3 items and they can come online. It's very different, I feel, to the way that Venom Crest like to play, where instead they'd like to put a little bit more focus into the bot lane and to see if you can get those guys ahead. So stylistically, it's a little bit different, and honestly, it's a risk ignoring your bot lane and leaving them to do their own thing. If anybody can do that, it is Ruddy, but, you know, as Venom Crest, that is definitely a potential lane that you can play around.
I'm excited, man. I like both these teams. I think they're both exciting. I think they're both hype. I think they can play around all of their lanes. I think they have good setup. And this is a battle for second place. This isn't just like any random battle. This is a monumental moment right now for these two teams. This could decide the final standings in next week's games. This could really change seedings. This could have a lot of impact, but also it sets in your mind going into these playoffs who is top dogs behind Tempest, right? So this, for me, is the matchup that I'm looking forward to. We're going to get drafted in 20 seconds. I want to see some crazy shenanigans. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. I want to see something a little bit different, right? We've got 3 game days left. Let's get it. We're moving into this one. We're going to the old school league draft system. And you know what? I kind of like the Rift being in the background.
I miss this. It's so nice getting back to this. So we jump on into the
Feels
draft.
peaceful.
Yeah, it's so much calmer than having our faces yelling and screaming in the middle and all of the picks popping up. I like it.
It's very worth mentioning here that Jamsu's still on their Holy Bobs. Fuyu is
Oh, okay.
is playing.
Well, we got to see Twitch Cass. Do you reckon it's bannable? Do you reckon either of those are bannable in this game?
Twitch probably.
We'll see. We'll
We're not
see.
gonna get Searling Narland play Nar.
I feel like Akaz will survive. I feel like he's got a few picks. But right now, though, flexing a lot of priority over to the jungles, right? They're taking away the Jarvan. They're taking away the Sejuani. They also removed the Rakan, so we're not going to see the Lovers duo at all. But from the flip side, a little bit of kind of solo lanes plus a jungle. I will say not the most meta bans, a little bit more targeted than what maybe expected. But obviously on the blue side now, what are you kind of expecting from these early picks?
The K'Sante just being up and available, it is a perfectly good first pick. There aren't really any counters that you're particularly terrified of. It would also be a takeaway. If not, you want to just try to look towards your bot lane potentially. Oh, never mind. Okay, Rumble, he's super strong at the moment, but it is a little bit of a risk. You can take it technically into the mid or as well. Oh, alright, and we'll jump right out.
Going to assume that wasn't meant.
Well, it's fine. We don't need to assume. We'll just find out when it happens, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
We'll see it.
Could have been a mispick. Could have been a misdraft. Who knows? We'll let you guys know when we know. But we're going to wait on that draft for a little bit of time. Now, you talked about Rumble. I want to talk about Rumble because I haven't really seen that much Rumble at the moment. But it does seem quite strong. Black Blocks, is this something that maybe teams are missing out on playing?
I think potentially you get... Players don't like changing from what they like to play, and a lot of top players just kind of don't pick up the Rumble because it's very different from all of the other picks that you end up with in the top lane. A lot of top laners, especially ones that play in competitive teams, hey, you're our Engage, here's your Ornn. Nowadays, here's your K'Sante. Enjoy your island. Rumble is not that kind of champion. He has got to be played around or played very, very perfectly in the top lane in order to get himself ahead. But if you do play it as well as possible, this champion just burns through anybody in front of him and can have such control. You've got brilliant wave clear. You can take over a team fight with the equalizer as well. And you can just poke people out so well in the individual lane matchup that it's difficult to play around. A lot of the top lane engaged champions just don't win versus the Rumble. You've got to kind of have some counter picks in your back pocket to deal with him. So I think it is something we're missing out on seeing, and it would be wild to actually get it in a matchup right here on the UKEL because it's not something you pick up until you get to the highest bounds of the amateur leagues, and then really you don't even see it until you get to professional play. And at that point, you know, you have to play everything as a pro player. At this level, most people don't, and most people don't have the Rumble.
And not only that, but I mean, you throw it into... you look at some of the more meta picks at the moment. I think I'm going to use Excited because I think it's something so crucial on because of how much micromanagement Rumble needs, it's very easy for a champion like Sante to just kind of say, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is fine. I'ma just exist. Deal with me. I dare you." And even if we see it flex, something like the jungle or the mid lane, again, you're just looking at these easier to execute champions. You're focusing on a hell of a lot less than you are on a Rumble. I'm concerned. I know Ruddy are a good team, and I know that with this top side in Akka's Crisis Katsuo probably could pilot the Rumble. I just don't know if Venom Crest are the team you need.
Yeah, and look, we talk about Klombeck's champions. I get it. I think there's also a world where you can play the Rumble and people aren't used to playing against the Rumble, so maybe they can overstep and they can misplay and all of that things. But one champion that I want to see, right, and this is real talk for the top lanes out here, yeah? If you're in the UK, yeah, this is a J-Real PSA for you, right? Complex champions, I've got one for you. Garen. Boom. Put Garen in the UKL. Where is the Garen? Like, he's crazy right now.
You're not wrong.
Like, how can he get played at Worlds and we're not getting him in UKL?
Why
Like,
do
what's
professional
going
players
on?
not know what this champion does? Why are they just
Like-
stood there in the silence, getting cut down?
You know what we also haven't seen yet that's strong at the moment? It's on the Thursday, Jay.
Yeah.
It's not something we
I brought it up and people were like, yeah, I don't want to see it.
I was
which,
gonna-
which is fair.
But if anybody's gonna pick it, Sin's gonna pick it. Frankly.
Okay. We'll see. I'm just
Zion was
saying.
left open from draft, which isn't something we've seen against Sin in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But KZ also plays a lot of it, so it could be a situation of saying, you're not going to blind it into us, so we're just going to pick it. So, I mean, if Sin wanted something that would work, Caitlyn is exactly that, because you're playing that long range run.
All I'm saying is that both those champions, Garen and Caitlyn, have one thing in common, and that is that you press your R key and the enemy just loses loads of health for no reason. Like an unreasonable amount of health. Like a ridiculous amount.
They both press R on the same target, Caitlyn and then Garen.
Yeah, they're dead. They're dead.
They're just dead.
You're gone.
Caitlyn is doming people at the moment. I mean, like, the ult, just gone, but also you just managed to hit one of those empowered auto attacks, and it just... It does not happen.
She had a bolt action rifle. Apparently, it's a full-on laser blaster.
Yeah. Just
We're talking intervention Call of Duty. That's what we're talking about. Like, she hits you with the no scope, and it's like, what just happened? Are we on Rust? I thought we were on the Rift. But either way, we're going to get the Caitlyn. It is picked up. We've got some psychics on the desk,
We're
and
so good.
now
Profits
here we
are
go.
back, Jay. Profits
Oh
are back.
boy. Oh, if this Jinx right here is locked in, then this is just the battle of which AD carry gets that initial kill. Because whoever does, just pops off, and there's nothing you can do. The Caitlyn takes a little bit more time, actually, with this lethality build to get to the point where you're actually able to just dome people, which is odd to say that Jinx, you know, is the kind of champion that you're looking to come online earlier, but in this current meta of builds, it is. So we'll have to see if that one's locked in, but... God, if there is lethality Caitlyn, then you need to be careful about picking squishies all of a sudden, because you can just get sniped from across the map. That ult has such ridiculous range.
I like the Jinx of it though. I will say this, not only for the arcane lore kind of bounce, but also for the fact that Jinx is just really, really good at the moment, right? They have a nice little buff. They now get the crazy, get excited, which can stack. It is looking very strong, but obviously does take a little bit of scaling. The one worry I would have about picking the Jinx is, as you said, squishy, first of all, but secondly, Caitlyn is going to come online a little bit earlier. And if they do pick a poke lane, it could really force their bot lane into a very tight situation where the Jinx doesn't get rolling until quite late. And obviously with leads, we've seen Ruddy take games pretty smoothly.
But again, in this kind of situation, Ruddy is on a clock. And I'm not keep using watches. Ruddy is really on a clock. Because if this Jinx does come online, especially if we pair it up with the Venom Crest, you know, the Silas's, the Sejuani's, Sante's, Rels, you suddenly have so many ways of stopping this Jinx from just going there.
Yeah.
That, you know.
Okay, well, with that being said, there have been a few technical issues. We are going to be setting it to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll bring you the final game of this day. And we are back once again. So, with that being said, we should be getting into draft very, very shortly. A couple of pretty fair reasons to pause the draft, to be honest. But we're not going to get into that. We're just going to let this one play out. Obviously, we've seen the bans before, so we're going to ignore them. We know that Caitlyn should be on the horizon, and then Jinx should be next. Although I'm not sure if it was fully locked that the Jinx was confirmed.
I'm not sure, so we'll see if the Jinx is going to be that pickup. Teams obviously have had just a little bit more time to think about it. The Caitlyn scales with this kind of build, so you can pick yourself a little bit of something that either wants to get aggressive early. We've been seeing a ton of Draven. You could potentially just pick that up and try to get aggressive, or take yourself something like the Xayah, the Kai'Sa, something that wants to scale a little bit later on, and just accept that the bot lane is a little bit of a write-off. Just ignore it and try play elsewhere. There's explosive lanes in the mid and top that you could play around instead.
If you pick the Xayah, you're locking this Caitlyn into lethality. I think into something like the Jinx, the Caitlyn still has the option to go crit, to be able to go toe-to-toe with this Jinx as the game goes on. And that is something that we could very possibly see if this Jinx is locked in. But I think if you do go for something like the Xayah, you are forcing this Caitlyn to go lethality, because she gets hard outvalued after a point. Going on hit or going crit against the Xayah. Will be the Jinx, so you have flexibility. Please lock this.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's terrifying.
It's time. It's time.
Yeah, that late game is so scary for Venom Crest. They now need to get themselves a winning lane in the mid lane and a proactive jungler, because otherwise they just get rolled during the early stages of the game. You don't want to let that happen. We'll see what Ruddy want to pick up for themselves too. You've got yourself the Caitlyn, so, you know, you can sit back, relax in this bot lane, try to get aggressive elsewhere, see what the jungler is going to be. The Hecarim would be interesting. It gives you good backline access, but they hovered it. They do want it. It is going to be that Rumble. Rumble into K'Sante. Not a matchup I've seen too much of.
Yeah, no one was expecting, but they are going to pick the Lux. So
Caitlyn Lux.
Yeah, Caitlyn Lux.
Play Xayah, by the way.
I talked about the bot lane and having range. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, but only for Ruddy. Because real talk, unless they're getting ganks, this is a horrible matchup to play into.
You don't get to step up. I mean,
I don't want to watch this game anymore.
No. Like, as an AD carry, I can understand why you dislike looking at this. The Caitlyn hits a single one of the traps, and you get to just throw the Lux Binding. The Lux Binding hits, you get to just throw a trap right underneath. You can burst somebody from 100 to 0. You can steal onto objectives with the Lux and Caitlyn to just dome straight onto the jungler and then win over on a smite fight. Especially because we've had the Rel locked in as well. Rel Jinx, relatively short ranged. If you go flying in and get on top of these two, maybe, but you have to execute so perfectly.
Are you seeing maybe Rel jungle, though?
It could be.
Because I feel like Rel into this, it doesn't feel like the way to play. You know what I mean? It's not what I would lock in. And they also have banned the Poppy, which does give me some sort of semblance that maybe it is going to be Rel jungle. Obviously, the Lux is going to make the game quite hard. There is still Morgana that is looming that could also be played jungle or support. So maybe that would be a little bit of a better option.
I don't want to step into a choke point versus a Lux and a Rumble. Like, you just get burned down, blasted down with those ultimates. It really is not a good time. This is the kind of thing that you need. Bartholdi going on to that Zac, to just get into the backline. You have to get that backline access, because right now you're getting poked up from so far away. K'Sante plus Zac can get into a backline pretty easily, and it is going to be the set lock-in. Now, that should be set top, so you're going to see this Rumble in the jungle.
Rumble
No,
mid.
Rumble mid. Okay, Rumble
Or-
mid. It is going to
Or
be a
Lux
counter
mid
pick.
set support.
They're cooking. Either way, Roddy have decided to pull some random stuff out. Is what you were asking for.
It could be Lux mid and set support, which is also something
Yeah.
you can see into the likes of Israel, because you can face break him out of the crash down.
But it does remove your ability to go with just the oppressive poke of the Caitlyn Lux. I think I'd prefer the Caitlyn Lux here. Right, how it's currently being hovered, set mid into Azir. Now that's miserable
That
too.
sounds
So
Yeah, but we were talking about Caitlyn Garen earlier. You know what does that just as well, but from twice at long range?
Wait, what?
yeah,
We say this. I will say this though. We talked about the set mid a little bit. We kind of mentioned it, but Ketsuo plays a lot of Yasuo, right? He knows how to play melee into range. Set can be quite an oppressive mid laner, to be honest, if you do get into scraps with him. And if Azir gets pulled in a little bit too close, well, it is going to be good night, right? The soldiers can't help you here. So there is a little bit of a world where I'm like, actually, you know what? Maybe this is going to come out trumps. We talked about, though, having to play for that top side. I also think that Set can kind of just survive. He doesn't go down too easily. So it gives them that kind of option to just kind of have that mid just be a bit of a rock. Whereas obviously in the bot lane, they're expecting that push in the top side. Now they can play for the Rumble.
I would agree with you with the Yasuo set point.
Mhm.
The difference is here, Yasuo has a lot of mobility to get onto these carries. Set is relying very heavily on flash, maybe a quick speed up from the fists. Getting to an Azir who has shifting sands to get away is very, very difficult at a base level. And Set doesn't have the same damage level that a Yasuo does, right? When you've got the 50% armor shred, when you press the Arcade, you'll build crit. Typically with Set, you're going to be looking to build a bit of health, a little bit of AD, but mainly health for the crit. So it's when you press that haymaker, boom, everybody's health is gone. So I don't know how Ketsuo wants to play this lane. I don't know if Ketsuo and Akers are going to switch lanes. When we see the Rumble go mid and Set go top, which I think I would actually prefer, because at least Akers would then have a way to deal with the Azir a little bit easier with the electric harpoons. It's hard to say one way or the other, but I do know that Ruddy are on a clock. If they cannot get something going, you're dealing with a massively, massively painful late game of Azir Jinx.
yeah. The late game is incredibly, incredibly strong right here. So you have to get stuff going right now.
Yeah, early gameplay. Don't do what you did on Thursday, which is obviously get us into some long-winded game with a few Elder Drakes and a couple of Barons, you know. Maybe avoid that one if you're ready, but it's Mr. Make It Happen's team. If they're going to do it, maybe they can make it happen. We'll have to find out. But the one thing I will say is we talk about, okay, you need to get things going off the bat. They do have their setup for that, right? They have winning bot lane. They have an aggressive jungler in the Wukong. They do have the Rumble that could potentially win out that lane. And you know what? Set, if he does get a couple of grabs early, could just end that one real quick. So I do think that they have the facilities to actually make this quite a fast game. But how are you wanting to play it? Is it an early level 3 gank on the top side? Is it actually play for this bot lane, make them extremely oppressive, win tower, rotate them around the map? What are you kind of looking for, Block, so you can start this one off from Ruddy to kind of get this ball rolling? Because we already know that Venom Crest, if they just get late game, they'll be fine.
If it is just going to be this Azir with the Set, you can try to gank onto this Azir during the early stages of the game, pre-level 6. That is a potential option. If not, ignore it. Get your Set into the team fights and then just use him as a bit of a frontline engage tool. That's absolutely fine. Go top lane. Try to find something there. Bot lane is a volatile lane, but you are going to be shoving in as this Caitlyn Lux. You'd have to imagine. If you're not, something's kind of gone a little bit wrong. So bot lane could be a bit tricky to actually try to play around. But Wukong, until level 6, he finds it a little bit tricky to actually find ganks for himself, so you need to get proactive alongside somebody with engage. I think top is fine. I think mid is fine. If bot lane is gankable, I think something's gone weird.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Any additions for you, Zika?
So I think you have to play through this Caitlyn. Even when we used to see Caitlyn in pro play a couple of years back, and I think the big Caitlyn player that comes to mind off the top of my head for you is Crownie. You would see teams would put Crownie bot lane with this Caitlyn, feed 5 plates, top, feed plates, move mid, feed plates. That is how you play with the Caitlyn and with this Vitality build, because of how fast you come online. It's the best way.
Okay. Well, we'll see if Ruddy can get fed and put Venom Crest to bed, or if we're the other way. But we're going to hand it over to our casters, Temporal, Milky Cereal, take us through the final game of today.
We are heading into game for our fourth and final game of the day. Ruddy against Venom Crest. The battle for second. Ruddy currently with 7 wins. Venom Crest with 6. If Ruddy win this game, Temporal, they lock themselves into those, well, top 3, top 4 spots. If they lose this game, they are back in amongst the pack in that battle for 4th, or maybe not even making the upper bracket.
Yeah, it's not game 5. This is our Silver Scrapes. This is the battle of the rest. Tempest Gaming's regular season carried them to that set above, but with 3 losses. Ruddy, Venom Crest look to try and challenge, look to cement themselves away from that all dangerous pack. And, what an exciting way to do it with such a crazy mid 2v2 of Set Wukong. There's 2v2 royalty as they do check onto Bartholdi.
And there are a few spicy picks that I do like. One being that Caitlyn Lux in the bottom lane for Ruddy, which has always been, one of those most powerful two-man bot lanes, or in this case, 2-woman bot lanes that you can have. And the other one that really I'm very excited to see is this set in the mid lane, seeing what it can do against that front line of the Zac, the Cassante, and the Rel.
I think till the Azir gets a few levels in W with the Fleet Footwork, we'll be able to survive. Taking a bit of chunky. This is a pretty rough matchup. Rumble really likes these tanks that you can just mess with in the early game. The base damage is enough for the items to look to a position of strength there for Akers. Is an excellent Cassante, and there will be plenty of backwards and forwards. It's on the Rumble to push the advantage. Really quite exciting. The first few waves come through. Should be able to push Ino back off these. He might be wearing the Shy's icon, but very difficult. Oh, KZ, no!
Oh, KZ. It's not a good start when you instantly get hit by the skill shots and KZ being forced away straight away, but at the same time, this is kind of what you expect from that Lux Caitlyn lane, and it's quite interesting as well because we've got Mage versus Tank on 2 separate sides, right? Because when we look towards the top lane for Ruddy, it's Akers who is on this Rumble, who is playing the Mage into Ino's Tank, and then in the mid lane, it's the other way around.
Very 2023 setup. Absolutely. Just the way that these interesting champions that offer the composition something will be able to get through the lane and then try and impact and escape. Can really highlight here as we watch KZ struggle. This is something that Jinx is going to have to put up with, the lane domination out of something like Caitlyn Lux. It's not Caitlyn Morgana, so it won't hold you still to kill you quite as much. You have to get through the wave first to do that, as we see the overheat there, just a little trade back. You can sort of see why the Cassante really gets a rough shake in this early game. If you go up close, an overheat will overtrade. If you don't, being able to play through the wave. Bartholdi has found Fuyu.
Bartholdi going into the trade, taking a lot of damage and making his way down is Ketsuo as well, but the Zac passive has already been popped. This is going to be first blood going to the side of Ruddy, and it's going to be gifted over to Sin.
Getting that scaling Caitlyn going so fast. Lethality items nice and cheap. When you get the money, you can really get the ball rolling fast. Wanted to highlight down here before that incredible series of events. Fuyu's Enchanters were his highlight of his competitive career in my mind. His Kaiser was great, his Seraphine was better, and his Lux pretty much up there with the Seraphine, and that was their lane back on Dimhi's Academy in the day. It was the Fuyu Little Pants Seraphine Lux special. We see even though the wave is going out and he's got a little XP lead, cannot hold this 1v1, and Akers should be able to ice this up in front of his tower and to just make sweat in this lane at an XP and CS deficit on this recall.
I did like how Akers had a quick walk over to the tower just to make sure Ino was backing over at a respectable distance. So,
just checking.
Otherwise there might have been something like a flash electro harpoon just to deny the back or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, definitely looking for edge of range. And it's quite interesting, there's a similar pattern in this bot lane. This wave will come forwards towards Ruddy. And at this time, there isn't a whole lot out on the map. Making your opponents come towards you, checking for unforced errors, really important at this level of competitive play. If you do find those things like Bartholdi going a little too hard in the bot lane, too much, saying, I have to fix this Caitlyn Lux, I have to get in there right now. I was like, whoa, busted. Too fast, too soon. And with the wave coming back towards them, Ruddy had the opportunity to invite that once again.
Yeah, you can just see the range that is being shown by Fu, just throwing out so many of those Lucent singularities, and, well, some of them hit, some of them don't.
Yeah.
And right now, not a lot of mana left on to use Lux, although he does land that particular E.
A bit sad to lose the flash there. It's a little bit of an overstep. And, you know, that's what Fast-Legged can maybe look towards the next few minutes. Bartoldi's gone top, but Crisis.
Sin forced to flash away, and surprisingly, the
the
Venom
trap.
Crest bot lane coming out on top, but flash forward now from a Crisis as he looks for the play. KZ sniped down by the Lux Q, and then the Piltover Peacemaker picks up the second kill in the bottom lane.
Such excellent timing, and it was the wave coming towards them that allowed the extension. If Venom Crest had to take that 2v2, they had to take it so far up in the lane. The Ruddy are so able to wait, punish, and take that 3v2. All summoners gone from Venom Crest bot lane. This is a disaster for the next few minutes.
And nearly double the CS for Sin over KZ. In our last game, we saw domination in the top lane from Lars, and now in the bottom lane, it is domination for Sin. But this time, we somewhat expect it considering the matchup. One matchup that isn't going as I was expecting it is this mid lane, because at the moment, Ketsuo is doing a very good job of keeping the CS even, if anything, a slight CS lead.
Yeah, if there is critique to how Azir was changed earlier this year, a lot of power taken out of his Q, the ability to move the Sand Soldiers and be flexible against melee characters in lane. His W does do more damage, does bear scaling up that bit better. However, you can't just move your soldiers to the side of the lane with a melee character on and push. We have to instead put them in the right position, get the damage down. The Q gives you one reposition, but that extended cooldown, that means you won't have it multiple times.
3 kills to 0 at the moment, and a 2k goal lead for the side of Ruddy. What is the objective to play for? There is a Drake up on the map, but at the moment, it is Ketsuo who is having just to reset and look at that item advantage in the bottom lane. Sin going for that BF sword, and I was wondering, I think we were kind of talking about it, whether we'd see that lethality coming through from Sin, opting just to go, he's got the gold, just go for the BF sword.
Yeah, I think, you know, I like the lethality even against high health targets, because eventually once you do get the LDR on top as well, it sort of doubles up and scales up with that extra bonus damage and the armor penetration, as Ketsuo has found Galore, will pull him out of his dash away.
Oh, but the flash in under tower now as well forces Galore to flash out to safety. So Summoners down now for the Azir and indeed the set.
The simplified game state does benefit the set anyway. Fan forwards onto this Azir now will have no flash out and no Emperor's Divide for a short while. I'd like to see Crisis sort of come across and sort of duel that lane nicely after sorting out the bot lane once again. And yeah, with the Caitlyn going towards this crit AD style, you will, in general, have sort of that same big presence with the big auto attacks. Caitlyn famously scaling awfully with attack speed. Thanks, Riot Games. I miss the days where I could just, you know, keep you away with that champion. Instead, now more about individual big things at long range. So she won't tear through a fight like the Jinx, firing off sort of rocket after rocket, shot after shot. Instead, big things from the Caitlyn, which in lane should convert to some pretty special moments.
Still a healthy CS lead for Sin in the bottom lane. They're getting that wave shot under tower, looking to pick up some tower plates as well, which will just help to extend their goal lead. Still haven't picked up that first plate yet.
Just sort of their only deficit, bringing the wave towards them, as, you know.
Well, Akers has to play a 1v2, and he's going to decide, let me try to get some of the minions, but all he can do is get one before he falls, and then we'll just guide this wave onto tower and look to pick himself up a tower plate of his own.
Yeah, on 13.0, the changes to Xante really do make this a bit more possible. The all-in, the all-out, so much more damage with Fuyu.
Well, that's a lot of damage in the bottom lane, and it's kill going the way of Venom Crest, and despite the amount of poke, despite the amount of priority that Ruddy have in the bottom lane, Venom Crest twice now have come out on top in the 2v2.
Yeah, they get their first kill back. It's a bit of a shame it goes over onto Fast-Legged, but if the support gets a bit tankier, we can start to see the Lux fall away and not be able to poke through as much. Bartoldi will get the cross map as well for Crisis showing in that bottom lane. A kill down as the Jinx falls.
Well, 2 kills going the way of Ruddy. Really good rotation from the side of Ruddy Esports. And a couple of plates going the way of Ruddy as well. However, with that Rift Herald being picked up, we'll see exactly where Bartholdi wants to place that for Venom Crest.
Yeah, Crisis is a bit extended here. His own jungle is up and Fuyu will find...
Well, out comes the Equalizer.
Oh,
Bartholdi
no.
fails the flash. He elastic slingshotted in, and, well, slingshotted into Fuyu, flashed into the wall, and will now fall. There are teleports available, but there is no way that Ino is going to teleport in to his demise. Although, Bartholdi, he tried to jump back over the wall, but he didn't have enough time to charge it up.
Yeah, a little bit tough there as he does finally get the respawn. Ruddy going to be happy with that as they look to attack mid.
Oh, pushed under the tower. That's a lot of damage coming through. Maybe a potential turnaround. Galul is low. Out comes the Haymaker. Not enough damage from the Sand Soldiers, but Ino is on the run. Flashes forward. Gets the kill on 2 Crisis, and 1 kill pull back for the side of Venomcrest as here comes the bottom lane. They will land the CC. There is the Showmaker, and they are looking for the play. Sorry, Showmaker, Showstopper, because they are stopping the show of Ruddy.
Yeah, a little bit too much there. It was clear that Crisis sort of went for the Emperor's Divide and was like, oh, we're back out now. But the teleport and the roam up from Venomcrest spot just a little too fast. They will find that. And it managed to go slightly more even. Only 1,000 gold lead now. Akaz will get a plate in return. But it's a lot of summoner spells missing across the map. A lot of chaos. Really only Sin and KZ holding the full complement. These AD carries now. We're coming towards first Iron Breakpoint, so that Gale Force through. Ino so strong.
Oh, this is looking really bad for Akaz. Ino 4-0 now on the K'Sante. We know K'Sante is strong. We thought he'd struggle in lane, and it wasn't looking like he would. And in comes a Magnet Storm in the bottom lane. Teleport to flank for Galul. In he comes. KZ is fine, able to get out to safety. And it is just going to be 2 kills going the way of Ruddy.
Yeah, they'll find Sin in the alcove here. No escape.
And it's a shutdown as well.
Crisis is on his own.
This is really aggressive. They might get the kill onto Galul. They'll do exactly that. But can KZ turn this around on the Jinx? He's actually too low. And, well, that's just a kill going back the way of Ruddy and for Crisis.
Yeah, you know, we associate Wukong with those team fights. I wasn't really sure he could do that on his own. But with the ult, holds his ground. Fast leg, not able to keep him still. Ketsu in the mid, in the meantime, pushing forwards onto this tower. So the difference in gold will sort of be equal. As once again, we go to like 500 gold. Not what you'd think for a bot lane 2v2 kill. Instead, the solo lanes of Ruddy are keeping the gold advantage as flat as possible.
It was such a good start as well for Ruddy, but Venomcrest have to pull this back, and that K'Sante is going to be an absolute monster. You look at the amount of poke that there is for the side of Ruddy, particularly in that bottom lane. They are not going to be able to get through the K'Sante, who already has his first item completed.
Yeah, it's maybe the lethality would have gone bigger. You know, Galul hasn't gone for that Shattered Crown, so is a potential victim of the ace in the hole. Bartholdi here, ready now. Galul roaming down everyone into this bot lane as Ruddy respectfully move into the river and try to keep himself safe.
Crisis making his way up, trying to catch out Galul, who's able just to slide and glide his way out to safety and back to his own quadrant of the map. And Venomcrest right now saying, look, you want to play Caitlyn Lux? You want to poke us? We'll just camp bot and kill you.
Yeah, sort of the way around. Bartholdi will find the way in.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a perfect elastic slingshot. It's a perfect follow-up. And it's a kill again, picked up by Fastleg, but here come the rest of Ruddy looking to turn the play around. The Magnet Storm is used by Fastlegged as Bartholdi looking to re-engage, looking for the Lux, who flashes out to safety, but here comes Galul as well, and he has the Emperor's Divide available, goes in, finds 2 members with the ultimate, but the turnaround is so nice from Ketsuo. Everyone is so low. Galul dies to an Arcane Comet proc, as in from the side comes Ino. That 4-0 K'Sante helps Venomcrest win the fight 3 kills to 1.
It looked so close there. It looked like Ruddy had found the kite, but the repetition of Galul in this backside with the Emperor's Divide into Ino's flank, more than enough to close that out. Venomcrest will move to their own gold lead, equalized by the first tower bonus going down. First brick over to Akaz in this top side. Early knowledge. You know, he hasn't scored a big goal, but he's got the conversion.
Honestly, there are goals happening all across the map. Venomcrest score the goal in the bottom lane, then Ruddy scored the goal. They get the first tower in the top lane. The Venomcrest will get a Drake. It's now the teleport coming into the bottom lane. What is the play here? Sin, well, he's been sinning because he's pushing way too far forward. Not going to be able to get the kill onto Bartholdi. No, now in just a 1v2 because showing up is Fuyu, but this is a really tanky you. Loads of damage, able to dash out of the final spark and stay alive. Venomcrest get another.
I think Sin just didn't expect everyone to run back to bot after the dragon went down. with that, the members of Venom Crest still around get another freebie on the way out. Really unfortunate there. All the swords in the world do not matter if this Caitlyn is dead the entire game. And her advantage from earlier, I think, well and truly dissolved now. Galul will find Fuyu. Little disrespectful not checking that. There have just been big plays in that bush. The flank they didn't see from K'Sante should be enough for them to know they don't control the side of their own map. A moment of peace now, but that Rift Herald coming up real soon. Herald 2, not the biggest objective, but both teams invested in everything in this close game for second. It's evened up now, and we're looking for some sort of creative way to break this open. Ruddy first into the river, but Venom Crest have pushed down the mid lane. Will take a moment for that Caitlyn to respond.
And we saw the goal differences, and we're looking at about a 1k goalie. Bartholdi coming in from the side, finding the engage, but where is the follow-up? Finals for Bart, they're trying to burn through the Zac, but it's just taking them too darn long, and this is allowing KZ to throw out the autos. Hasn't been able to get excited, but there comes the first kill, and now KZ is excited galore from the side, picks up the second kill for Venom Crest. 2 kills for the price of nothing, because Bartholdi had the passive.
Bartholdi was just there first. Ketsuo didn't manage to TP and didn't find an angle to support his teammates, and without that sort of presence of the set to go forwards to break someone approaching his own team and push them back into their own, there isn't a way for Ruddy to go even in that fight, and now Galore will be able to walk across and deny the cross map. Venom Crest, strike, and strike hard.
Well, the gold was even. Now it's a 1.5k goal lead to the side of Venom Crest. And I was going to ask you, Temporal, with the goal this close at 15 minutes, it does feel like Venom Crest have come out on top. But, well, with nearly a 2k goal lead, I think they definitely come out on top in the opening 15 minutes.
Yeah, they spent so much of it down. But Bartholdi has found creative engage after creative engage Eno in this top lane. Really on an absolute clinic, and the chaos in bot lane allows kills and takedowns to stabilize. That CS lead does not mean a lot right now. The 7 assists on a 2-item Jinx, who was suppressed, but no longer.
And when you've got these many kills being thrown around, even if it was even, I'd take my kills being thrown into a Jinx and an Azir over a Caitlyn and a Set any day. As here goes Bartholdi in once again. He has got nerves of steel, just doesn't care, throws himself in at every opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really not sure about the Caitlyn itemization. I don't mean that it should be lethality, it should be this. I don't know how Caitlyn kills K'Sante, Zac, as we go on through the game, as they get healthier. She struggles with those big targets. No matter what you do with the items, there won't be the benefit of the attack speed. There isn't much more than the position she can hold. Bartholdi, looking down into this lower portion of the jungle, will try and find a flank on Ketsuo, but he is spotted.
And just to go back to that point you were mentioning, when we were looking through the picks and bans, I was saying, right, okay, we've got this strong Caitlyn Lux of being locked in as Bartholdi flings himself across the map once more. Venom Crest's answer to the Caitlyn Lux was saying, okay, we'll pick K'Sante, we'll pick Zac, we'll pick Rel. Here's your poke, how do you deal with our tanks? And the answer from Ruddy was, we have a set. This is our answer. So we have to look towards Ketsuo. What can he do against this front line? Can he find those really big showstoppers? Final spot, chunks KZ down relatively low, still a minute away though from that third Drake of the game.
Yeah, hopefully just enough time for that equalizer as well to come back. Maybe the Rumble can also help with the tank shred, but after a while it does fall away. Crisis here, just pushing forward, just trying to hold the line of his own jungle. Both teams very invested in this mid wave with 35 seconds on the Dragon. We're running out of time to recall. And I think everyone rather invested in the Infernal as well. Lots of big damage deal as the Jinx goes harder, that everyone on Ruddy, I think it's fair to say, would enjoy a little bit of extra bonus AP and AD. Like the absolute cloud of red vision around might help Venom Crest pick this one up.
Oh, well, you've got Final Spark, not have a Peacemaker, maybe you can steal that Drake away.
There is a summoning circle around this Infernal Dragon Milky Cereal, and it is red for Venom Crest.
What are they summoning though, Temporal?
Vibes.
Yeah,
the vibes and the little bit of golden XP this dragon gives, in addition to its buff. You know, each buff was slightly nerfed, I think with the Soul coming through being big. Infernal, just such a huge deal. TP into the top lane from Galul to try and prevent the cross map. Final Spark, so close.
Well, it was close, stealing it away. Galore very low, almost getting the kill, but here comes Fastleg just to give a little bit of space to Galore. Really nice Super Mega Death Rocket, and Galore says thank you very much, picks up the kill onto Crisis.
And then the cross map already starting to struggle, starting to stall.
Well, here comes a fast-legging it over to the mid lane. Sin will have fallen. Well, Sin and Fu thought they had an opportunity to abuse KZ and Bartholdi, but it did not pan out that way.
I think Ruddy clearly struggling with the Zac. They're not sort of respecting the crazy things this pick can do, the crazy range and the ability to fling yourself in. And I think just a little bit of creativity from Bartholdi has really given them so much struggle so far. Maybe they can start doing what the normal prescription is, which is just to move your wave of vision one way forwards with your green wards, and then keep your pink wards where you'd normally keep your green wards. So let's say those blue pings down onto Baron now. We want to see green wards in and around the red buff, in and around the top tri-bush, to see the Zac coming, even if he's going for something deep, and then control your own space so that the Zac can't see where to go.
I'm sorry, Temporal, you're really showing your age there. The cool kids call them yellow wards these days.
No.
Yeah, they're not green anymore, I'm afraid.
Oh, get out your classic ward skins. You know,
Yeah.
that's the only thing we're holding on to from back in the day.
Is it pink wards or red wards now as
No,
well?
they're still pink. in
They're
my
still
heart.
pink.
They're still pink. They've got that little pink eye on them sometimes. That's what matters. But what matters right
Okay.
now is Bartholdi into the backline.
He's overshooting, but he doesn't care. Galore goes in with the Emperor's Divide, and so much damage comes through. It's already one kill. There's nothing Ruddy can do. Venom Crest tear them to shreds.
The absolute nerves. Ruddy was still clearing mid while that was going on. I think some of their members, you know, clearly seeing the need to fight. Others being scared of the Zac. Others not sure how the approach should be managed. The X in the hole comes through, barely scratches fast leg.
Ketsuo needs to be big here. He finds the ult, but what can he do on a top? He's pulled away by the Magnet Storm as out comes the Super Mega Death Rocket. Sin just cannot get into the fight. Bartholdi's owning him away, but Ketsuo able to get one. Can he get anything more? No, he can't. And Venom Crest find 3 more kills.
A white here. Ruddy sent back home, sent to the base. As Venom Crest will start to take down this Baron and take it uncontested. I think it's so clear to see that they are firing on all cylinders now, this triple threat composition with the incredible access offered by the Zac, by the Rel, as he gets pretty close to their objective still. Not quite though, for the Smite of Bartholdi. I don't see an easy way back in for Ruddy here. The Azir has so much damage just on these 2 items. I'd maybe even like to see him go for the Shadow Flare to double down to send this home.
Sin is just not allowed to push after Venom Crest gets objectives. The teleport in behind from Inno gets the kill onto Fu. Meanwhile, Sin just gets absolutely collapsed on by Venom Crest, who are not giving Ruddy a second to take anything on the map.
Ruddy look completely broken now. I don't know why they're farming their own jungle. This mid setup isn't there. They're not able to compete with this Baron buff up at this time with Eno's strong tank bearing this front line. We saw the damage there. He just solo killed Furyu. And likewise, Galul in this bottom lane will be able to get this tower. And the ability to stand up has to come as 5. They have to try and find numbers advantage and reach the Azir.
Yeah, and just a reminder really of the standings. These are teams that are second and third as a final spark. Barely even tickles Eno and Bartholdi. They'll be saying, give us more of those final sparks because, well, they did nothing whatsoever.
Synchronized recall here, Venom Crest. Clearly someone shot calling very nicely there. They leave no vulnerability on the map for a pick. They've left their vision exactly where they want it. They've refreshed it with 4 control wards in the inventories. Galore not able to get one after finishing off the Zhonya's.
I think we've got to flame Galore. Where is the Magi's? 10 stacks on the Dark Seal.
No, that's extra tax. We want a Zhonya's.
Okay.
Ideally, I'd like the Shadow Flame. I think it goes just a little bit nicer into taking down what will never be a full health ready front line after 1 or 2 swings. And it just doubles down on the extra damage. You always need penetration in your early few. When you're this far ahead, 8,000 gold. What a flip from that early game. Already held a few thousand lead of their own. It's just, it's such a colossal difference. And the ability now to approach from Ruddy. I want to see Crisis on something spicy. I want to see a flash ultimate in a minute or so's time. They're starting to run out of options.
And going back to the standings right now, Venom Crest are third. They've had 4 losses so far this split as here comes the engage from Inno Bartholdi over the wall. Inno pulling Ketsuo out of the fight, looking for the pick. Bartholdi just tanking up tower shot after tower shot, and sadly for Ketsuo, the Haymaker will not land onto anyone as KZ snipes him down with the ultimate.
Despite Ketsuo being a really tough target and going down slowly twice now, down the Baron, Fuyu instantly one shot.
Galore so much damage on the Azir. Fastleg charging forward with a Magnet Storm. It's another kill. It's going to be 4 for the side of Venom Crest all the while. Well, Akers is trying to split push in the top lane.
Yeah.
Maybe he can get an inhibitor tower, but it doesn't matter because the Nexus towers are falling in favor of Venom Crest, who will be taking down Ruddy Esports and tying themselves up second place in the Four Nations Autumn Split.
That second place equivalent found as Venom Crest comfortably run this one over the finish line. No panic after the early game. No incredible stress that Ruddy could push on that would make the game impossible for them. Hey, it's both of us. We love your production. I think that was a pretty good game. I think it was like
Not for Ruddy,
we're approaching banger stages. Ruddy had a great early game. We can't take that away from them. I think the conversion and the next thing when you're on creative things like the set and when you're really trying to push the envelope is difficult. It's not as simple as the Zac, which is creative just by its nature.
Yeah.
Instead, a little bit more difficult. And we didn't see it work out today, but Ruddy will ride again as we have one more week of the regular season to go. Loki, it's been a pleasure.
It has absolutely been
We'll
a
get you
pleasure.
next time. You can leave me hanging.
Oh,
There we go. There we go.
See, I was looking at the camera and I
Yeah,
didn't see the
it's good camera discipline.
There you go.
Thank you for being with us for this cast. We're going to kick it back over to the desk, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Well. I feel like we've learned something today. You know, when people have one tricks, ban them. That's kind of how it goes. But at the end of the day, Zika is holding that clock. I do very much agree. Ready, we're on a timer, and they couldn't make it work. They couldn't make the game go their way in the early stages, and due to that, it obviously didn't go too well in the later stages. We don't really need to bring that one up. But, Bloxer, talk to me about this early game, right? Talk to me about the start of this one. It looked pretty good from the bot lane perspective, but then it didn't continue looking good.
So you freehand that initial kill over to the Caitlyn. Wonderful. Perfect. Unfortunately, it's not a lethality Caitlyn, and crit Caitlyn at this point in time just doesn't feel good. You're going towards that crit Caitlyn because you want access to a little bit more armor shred, potentially to get through the Cassante, the Zac, the Rel, as well as that Gale Force to just avoid them. So it makes sense in terms of that item, why you would build like that, but oh boy, it just does not work out because you don't get to dome the squishies and you're still not able to get through those really tanky picks elsewhere on the map. And beyond that, Caitlyn getting the early couple of kills, everywhere else just started to go wrong. Ino was looking so clean on that Cassante. You're in a set versus a Zir matchup, so that was miserable as we were expecting. Sure, the set actually did manage to wander up, land a couple of E's. That was nice, but it doesn't really matter, not in the grand scheme of this game. And you know, despite the fact you managed to get the big push in the bot lane, if the rest of the map falls to pieces, yeah, you're kind of on a clock with this matchup, as we were talking about, but unless you really get yourself ahead, the game just came for them way quicker than I think Ruddy were expecting. Venom Crest got themselves ahead in the early game in a time where they really should have been losing and having to scale.
And obviously we mentioned the bot lane, how it didn't really flow out for them. Let's talk a little bit about the top lane. So let's bring up some stats from Eno though, because obviously this was a big part of the game. Zika, talk to us about this player.
We have two rules in the UKL. You don't give Lars Fiora, and you don't give Eno Cassante. Eno has been looking better and better on this pick. This is the pinnacle of what we've seen. 7-0 and 4 was everywhere on the map. Solo killed Akers, a player that we have largely considered one of the most consistent, solid top laners in the league, and was discarded to the side as if it was nothing in the face of Eno's Cassante, sitting at 196 CS, 14,000 damage, which is wild for a tank in what, like a 28-30 minute game. It's insane what Eno can do on this champion, the sheer amount of impact he can have in games like this. We saw it several times, taking Ketsu away from fights, taking Crisis away from fights, hell, even taking Sin away from fights. It was smash, bang, wallop, left, right, and center. And this, apparently, the mini rework that Cassante received has done nothing for just how strong Eno is on the champion.
Indeed. I feel like any changes, you can't hold him back. But let's talk about another champion that I feel like it's got a little bit of spotlight recently, especially today. Let's talk about Zac. Let's bring up some statistics from this one, because this champion, Bloxer, just feels really oppressive.
Yeah, all of a sudden we're seeing the Zac kind of explode into the meta. He hasn't really been one of those premier picks for quite a while, and all of a sudden he's looking so strong. And he's just brilliant into any of these junglers that want to be getting aggressive, ganking early, trying to deal damage in and of themselves, because he just gets to say no. Ganks just as much, if not more, than those aggressive picks like the Wukongs, the Viegos, all of that kind of thing. But then also is just so tanky that you can stop anybody from really being able to walk into your team. It gives you the engage that you love to see paired up with things like we saw today, like the Rel, like the Cassante, where you've got other big tanky buddies and you just goon squad walk into the opposition and there's nothing that they can really do. Crit Caitlyn wasn't really going to get through any of this. Neither was kind of anything else that had been drafted. It's just working out really well, and I love seeing the Zac. He's such a versatile pick, and it gives us more of those big tanky junglers that we've kind of been missing out on. You know, the Sejuani's been around, the Maokai, but those as champions are a little bit slower paced. The Zac can really just get into the backline and blow things up, and it's super interesting to watch.
It is indeed, and hopefully we see a little bit more of that in the future. Obviously, new picks come and go. We didn't get to see the Ziggs again today. That was kind of banned out from the team that we expected it from. The Zac coming through. What can we expect on Thursday? Who will know? But that is going to be the end of the show. We're going to give you a quick rundown, and then we'll get into the standings in a second. But if you missed any of the games, it kicked off with DMG picking up a win against Belfast Storm. They looked pretty good. DMG just piling on, getting a lead, taking it home, easy clap, and they are looking stronger and stronger. So that race for that 4th place is still heating up. Going on to the second game, Tempest, they came back, they showed up, they said, this is exactly why we're number 1. Enough said. Game 3, they didn't ban Lazarus Fiora. Verzik win. Moving on. Game 4, Ruddy, they had a strat in mind. Again, didn't ban the One Tricks Cassante, didn't ban Ineos Cassante, but they also almost made it happen in the early game, and then it came pretty crashing down very early on around that 10-minute mark. But with that being said,
if I may, just
yeah,
quickly, I think Vayne God is turning into Vayne Gone with that Vayne win rate. 2 games of it so far, hasn't won a game on it yet. I don't even think it's being banned as much.
Yeah.
Damn.
Maybe we're moving off of Vayne and on to Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa gone.
Damn. That was cold. That was cold. Woo! You can really tell it's winter. Damn. All right. With that being said, moving on to the standings. Let's bring them up on screen for you people at home. So, with that being said, as we can see, the first 4 are locked at the moment, but Belfast Storm is sitting on a little bit of an icy spot because DMG and Verzik are there to play. They are looking to take this one away, and that 4th spot is still contested. We talked about it last week, Thursday. It is still very much a race that hasn't been settled just yet. However, the top 3, pretty solid, right? Tempest have secured themselves first spot. Ruddy and Venomcrest battling out for second. If they stay even, Venomcrest will take the second due to head-on-heads, 2 wins versus Ruddy. Lions 3, I believe, are out, but Arcadia maybe have a slither of a chance if they can pick up a few more wins. So with that being said, we're going to bring it back to us. That is going to be the end of the show. Thank you very much to everyone that has been on the casting desk, both analysts and casters, and Brackish, who was the previous host. Shout out to Lou for doing all the production. It's been a tough one, but we've made it through, and without you, there would be no show indeed. So shout out to you, and then shout out to everyone that came through and watched. But with that being said, that is all from today. Make sure you stay tuned in. There's 3 game days left. The next one is on Thursday.
Oh my.